Hello, everybody. We got a little bit of extra distance between Victoria's inappropriate outburst because I clicked to the other party's countdown before going live this week. Welcome to another Tuesday night episode of Delve Requisite here on Proficiency Bonus. We got a lot to get through and not a lot of time to do it before the holidays, folks. So I'm gonna roll through this pretty quickly here. Let's give a quick shout out and a thank you to our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle Games. You know what to do. Turn off the volume on your cell phones.
I mean, if you're at home, you don't have to turn off.
I mean, you don't have to. I should have, and I didn't. Now I have. Exclamation point, Little Dragon, exclamation point, CCG to get a link to either of those fine websites. You can go to Little Dragon Corp and use our code bonus at checkout for 15%. 15% now, they upped it, off of an order of fine polyhedral tabletop gaming dice. Or you can go to Cardboard Castle and pay full price for things that you want, because they will sell them to you. We should bully them into giving us a discount code. I don't know if their thing works like that.
If you go there in person and you tell them Proficiency Bonus sent you, they've been known to give you 10% off.
That's true.
Yeah, and if you talk to the store owner, Robert, he knows me personally, and if you say something about me, he'll probably give you 10% off.
Yeah.
If you go there and you say something about Michael, he will charge you 10% more.
10% more.
He gave me 20% off of this thing.
Ooh.
Oh, what is it?
It is the apparatus of Kowalish. It's the little crab magical item that you can get in and crawl around in, and
it just looks like a metal tube.
It's like a crab tank.
It's like a crab tank.
I know.
Yeah.
To drive to
Alrighty.
Michael's house and then take a trip to Cardboard Castle together.
Perfect.
Come on down. You're all invited.
Well then, let us begin tonight's episode of Crab Tank. I'm just waiting to see how much of a disruption I'm about to get hit with. Sounds like I might be okay. Let's begin. You will remember, last time we finished, Rowan had begun to tell the story of her history with the individual you now come to know as Malark Harr, an ex-paladin of the Radiant Dawn and a former associate of Rowan's. And so we flash back. When Silarax the Black raised high in Varia, the capital city of the ancient Invarian Empire, over 2,500 years ago, he released what we now know as the Blight upon the land. Every living thing the Blight touched was slaughtered and transformed into a horrible, semi-corporeal creature that could move through shadows and siphon the life force away from a living creature merely by touching it, dooming it to die horribly and eventually transform itself into a creature like the one that created it. The Blight spread to consume every living thing on the landmass now known as the Blighted Peninsula before the original Order of the Radiant Dawn banded together and halted its expansion at the mouth of the valley that serves as the only land bridge to the rest of the continent. They have held the line there ever since. Certain members of the Radiant Dawn, known as Dawn Paladins, wield a power they call the Light, bestowed upon them by something they refer to only as the Star of Dawn. Dawn Paladins, as well as their non-divine brethren in the Order of the Radiant Dawn, wage an endless war of attrition against the horrors within the Blighted Peninsula. Blight Shades, as the Order calls them, possess little intelligence individually, and do not traverse easily without shadows to creep between. Thus, an expansive no-man's land with a network of enchanted light pylons painstakingly eked out of the western border of the city of Lyra, where the Order operates, forms an effective firebreak and a kill box for any errant shades that wander too close, drawn towards the life force of the city. However, what shades lack in any tactic or organized will, they make up for in the fact that their numbers are legion, and they possess a sort of horde mentality, leading to an expanding domino effect when they sense prey, making the most dangerous aspect to fighting them their proclivity to amass and overwhelm. There have been 3 crusades attempted by the Order over the last 2 millennia, attempts to push into the peninsula and retake ground. Each has been met with failure, and the most recent attempt, some 231 years ago, led to a horde nearly breaking loose into the continent at large. Since that time, the Order has abandoned active plans for large-scale pushes into the valley, and have instead fortified, held a constant defensive line, and resorted to small, frequent excursions behind enemy lines in search for clues that may someday allow them to eradicate the Blight. Our story today begins in a caravan, traveling northwest along the King's Road from the city of Festinaus to the city of Lyra. Rowan, you have been traveling for the better part of a month. First, from Austinvale, your home, to the city of Turnir, where you enlisted, and then west with this caravan. It is comprised of 3 members of the Radiant Dawn, 2 of whom are paladins, one of whom is a mere common soldier, and 2 other recruits besides yourself. Russell, you are a soldier of the Radiant Dawn. You can pull the soldier stat block from the monster manual, and you may come up with a name and identity for yourself in this setting. Christy, you are one of the 2 paladins on this excursion. You may use the Veteran of the Gauntlet stat block, which is from Out of the Abyss. You should have access to it on D&D Beyond through content sharing. If not, I can send you the stat block.
Can you just link me, maybe?
Maybe.
What was it called?
Veteran of the Gauntlet.
I got you.
Thanks.
Okay, you got it?
Thank you.
Alrighty. Victoria, Michael, you are fellow recruits. You will use the Noble stat block from the monster manual. Rowan, you are Rowan.
Oh, I thought I was going to be Rowan.
You have been traveling for some time from larger town to larger town as the Dawn undertakes its annual recruitment process. Individuals from all over the 5 kingdoms who wish to travel to Lyra and take the oaths and join the Radiant Dawn gather at predestined spots where they join up with Radiant Dawn caravans that bring them to Lyra to enlist and become soldiers in the organization. As the caravan rolls through a small, out-of-the-way village somewhere to the west of your last major stop, which was Festinaust, you are stopped by a group of villagers in this little hamlet. You know that the name of this town is Verdenhearth. A group of the townsfolk implore the final member of your caravan, the lead paladin, who I am taking the role of, an individual who you know to be known as Vanguard Reese Lauren. The townsfolk implore Vanguard Lauren to stop and lend assistance. They explain that several weeks ago, a troll began terrorizing their village. The troll wandered into the area several miles outside of town following a wild herd of elk. Rather than continue to chase the elk, the troll discovered that the slower, more easily catchable sheep, cows, and goats of the outskirting farms were suitable food for it. It has been coming every few days since then, picking off a few animals. They tell you that a local farmer by the name of Old Shep was badly injured when he tried to save one of his sheep, and the troll picked him up and sidearmed him into a tree. The troll has taken up residence, the people tell you, in the hills a half-day's walk from town. 2 days ago, a group of men from the village set out to try and kill it or drive it off. None of them have returned, and the townspeople are worried. There was a storm last night, and the men were not well equipped to be out this long in the elements. They even tell you that several of the young men who went with the hunting party had been intending to join the caravan and enlist with the dawn. The flaps of the caravan open after the 3 of the recruits inside hear Vanguard Lauren discussing with his fellow Radiant Dawn compatriots for a few minutes, and he waves you out of the back of the caravan. He says, "I presume that you heard everything that the townsfolk had to say. Normally, we are instructed to keep out of such local troubles. However, the nearest outpost with a sizable enough detachment of Mithlindian Home Guard to lend aid to these people is several days there and back. And we're here now. At the very least, a few of the men who went out for that troll are interested in recruiting. We can," he grins a little, "write it off as a recruitment expense. If all goes well, we can be back on the road tonight, heading for Lyra. These people can sleep easier in their beds, and perhaps we'll have a few more able-bodied individuals signing up for the dawn. If any of the 3 of you do not have your own weaponry, I can provide it to you from the back of the second caravan. And if it helps, think of this as a early recruitment trial."
I elbow Rowan. I'm like, "I brought my lucky rapier. What do you have?"
Rowan smirks and reaches back into the caravan and pulls out a longsword that she stole from her father's collection.
That's pretty nice.
That one's way cooler than mine. And I pull out like a longsword that's like really shitty. I found this one.
It was decorative, but
Russell, you're part of the Radiant Dawn. You're not a recruit.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
Everyone just hates him and
Vanguard
uses him.
Lauren towards you, and he's like, "We will address the dereliction of your duty at maintaining your equipment when we return to Lyra."
I forgot
I lost the
mine.
first one they gave me.
I don't. Could you point me in the direction of those weapons?
He points to Nimue. What have you named your paladin here?
Effany.
He says, "Vanguard Effany. Would you see this young gentleman here? And what is your name, Michael?"
It's Owen.
Okay. Would you see young Owen to the caravan to outfit him with a sword? Victoria, he gestures towards your character as well. What is your name?
Saoirse. It's a really hard to spell one.
Say it one more time.
Saoirse. It's like Saiorse or something like that.
Okay.
It's a really crazy.
It's really hard to spell.
I wrote it phonetically. It's fine.
I was trying to go easy on you there, Matt.
Yeah, it's fine.
I just took something from Xena Warrior Princess. Hey, I'm using
Okay.
it.
It's perfect.
God.
And Russell, what is your character's name?
Ooh, that is
Ralph.
hard to spell.
Ralph? Okay.
It is. Yeah.
I was
Whenever I see that name, I'm just like, ugh.
name generators for so long, and I didn't come up with it.
He turns at Vanguard Effany. If you would see young Owen to the caravan, and he looks over the rapier. He says, "Replace." He says, "Give young Saoirse a longsword as well. A rapier will hardly be suited for fighting a troll." And he goes, "And replace Ralph's blade as well, for the love of God."
I was way ahead of you, sir. She's already like clocked everybody. She's like, yeah, I think they all
Look,
need something.
I'm good at a lot of things.
Ralph.
That's the end of the statement.
The townspeople.
I look at Saoirse, like, oh god.
The townspeople give Vanguard Lauren a description of like where and what heading the party that went in search of the troll headed out, and after a period of time getting all of you guys prepped up and equipped, you set off on foot in the direction indicated. After a few hours of traveling, following the trail of well-worn wagon wheels out towards the farms, you reach a big old gnarled tree that was indicated as the like turn-off point to head into the wilderness in the direction that the hunting party went. As you turn off, a few hundred yards into the forest, Vanguard Lauren like holds up a hand and calls you to a halt, and he turns to the three recruits, Rowan, Saoirse, and Rowan and Owen. Rowan, Saoirse, and Owen. And he says, "Well, let us make this educational at least. Look around. Tell me what you see. Which way do you think the men or the troll passed?" And you guys
I'd like
may
to point
make...
out that Ralph has a clipboard. And a quill.
Okay. The three of you guys may make make a survival check, nature check.
Is survival based off of intelligence or wisdom?
Wisdom, I believe.
Wisdom.
Gotcha.
I see a lot of trees. What do you mean we're supposed to be looking for anything else? That's a 5.
Owen rolled an 18.
Okay.
Rowan rolled a 16.
Okay. Rowan and Owen, you guys see...
Dynamic duo again!
Can't wait till Owen tragically dies.
Stop!
You guys see that
This is
there
the beginning of Rowan's trauma. Here we go.
There is a path through the woods heading vaguely to the northwest. You see a few like disturbed piles of leaves, a broken branch here or there, that indicates a direction for you to follow. When you kind of point that out, Vanguard Lauren nods. He says, "Very good. That is exactly correct. In all likelihood, the trails that we see here matches the description that the townspeople gave us. This appears to be a trail that several men passed by this way a number of days ago, only slightly disturbed by last night's rain." He gestures towards Ralph to like take point. He gestures towards oh no, I can't read my own writing. It's Effrin?
Effany.
I wrote EFF and then like an
Just say when you're
unintelligible
banging
garble of
me.
shit.
Oh, F me.
Effany. Effany, he gestures for you to take the rear, and he
That was the
like
stupidest thing I've ever said.
he kind of like begins herding the three of you recruits in a direction. After about another hour of walking, Ralph, make a perception check.
Ralph's about to get bodied by a troll.
Get me dice out. Hold on. 3-6.
You said 6?
No, I said that's a D6. Looking for my...
He didn't have his dice
I
out.
didn't have my dice out. Natural 20! Oh my god. What a waste.
You hear, not necessarily a waste, as you guys move through the forest, you approach a small clearing up ahead. With your natural 20 perception, you see and hear a few things. You see that in the center of this clearing, there are the remnants of a campfire. Since burned out, extinguished, and like downpoured upon, it is nothing but like wet, moldery charcoals, cold and lifeless in the center of this small stone pit that has been constructed. You notice that the bark on one of the trees on the far side of the clearing has been like scraped clear, as if something like swiped and ripped a chunk of bark off of the tree about 6 feet in the air. And you hear your own foot like step on like a twig, which gives like a slight disturbance and a snap. And in response, you hear the unmistakable like click of a crossbow bolt being drawn back.
Everybody move. Everybody freeze.
You say that instead of continuing further, and you hear from inside the clearing, you say, "Oh, thank heavens. People. I'm over here. It's safe. I won't shoot you. I thought you might have been the troll. Come back."
Nope, not a troll. Just Ralph.
That's the damnedest thing. My name's Ralph, too.
What?
On
Ralph just looking in a mirror at this point.
Count of 3. What's your last name? 1, 2, 3.
Stevenson.
Smith. Oh, close. You walk into the clearing, and partially obscured beneath like a stretched out piece of canvas in the crook of a tree is a man propped against the tree with a crossbow sitting like this. You see that one of his legs appears to have been like reset and crudely splinted, but definitely was like pretty badly broken. He looks at the three of you. He spots the insignia of the Radiant Dawn on the tabards of Ralph, Effany, and Vanguard Laura, and he says, "Oh, by the gods, Paladins of the Dawn." He says, "Have you come to help? I reckon the townsfolk must have sent you after us when we didn't come back."
We have.
He,
being just a soldier, Ralph doesn't have no paladin healing, right?
You do not have paladin powers. You're just a guy.
Just Ralph.
You're just Ralph.
I'm just Ralph.
So Villager Ralph says, "We followed the troll out into this area. We've got its lair, den, I don't know. It's a small cave, just a ways further on here. We had camped out here for the night to wait out the rain and make a plan tomorrow, but it caught us by surprise. I guess it had been near one of the farms hunting, wandered right in to our camp carrying a goat. We tried to fight it, but it didn't go all that well. We weren't expecting it in the middle of the night. We just sat down for dinner. We stabbed at it. A couple of the men had pitchforks. One of the lads has a sword, but those damn trolls. Its wounds was closing just as fast as we could heal." He gestures towards his busted leg. He says, "I would have been done for, except I think in the confusion of things, it mixed up its two hands and it swung the goat at me as opposed to the club it has in its other hand. Still knocked me pretty good, broke me leg something fierce. But in the scuffle, it stepped into our campfire, burned its foot and howled like the devil. That seemed to do the trick, and it didn't seem to want no more part of us and ran off in the direction of its lair. The other lads, they fixed me up and left me here with a crossbow to defend myself if anything was to come back, and headed off in the direction of its lair, not wanting to lose sight of it again. That was early this morning. They've gone that way. If you move quickly, you can probably catch up to them.
Well, you should consider yourself lucky. Trolls, they're fierce, but they're kind of stupid. So,
what they lack in intelligence, they make up for in being strong as the blazes and bloody mean, though.
if I was you, I'd avoid goats for a while.
He gestures at his legs. He's like, I will do my very best, though. They are usually not accelerated toward me at such velocity.
I look around.
Sure.
Is there anything in the area that Ralph would know as any sort of herb that might help? Anything that might help?
Make a
More like a
make a medicine
medicinal
check, yeah.
something instead of
make a medicine check, which I believe is also wisdom.
Could I get?
Might be intelligence.
Do we have supplies for torches?
Yes.
7.
I'm
Seven.
gonna start getting those set up and hand them out to each of the recruits.
Okay. You do not see anything in the vicinity that you identify as an edible medicinal herb of any sort. As
Owen will whisper to Rowan. Did you hear that? He broke his gee-golly leg with a goat.
I was more focused on the fact, as Effany gives us torches, that it doesn't like fire. I think this is gonna be... dodge the goat, but hit it with fire.
Good idea. Real good idea.
I pat him on the back.
Vanguard Lauren says,
Everyone just rolls their eyes and goes.
First rule of the Order of the Radiant Dawn: always speak with your chest. Don't be whispering about like a bunch of dirty pirates.
Right. Yes, sir.
Lauren says, I would wager that at this point the goat has been well devoured. Your main concern, our first main concern is getting there before the rest of these villagers get themselves in over their head with this troll. And as he says that, he begins walking you in the direction that villager Ralph had indicated. He says, we shall assess the situation when we get there, but my main concern, he points as you guys pass the tree with the big scrape taken out of it, is whatever weapon it used to do that.
Rowan looks up at it and reaches her hand up to it's that much higher than me, and that's its swiping range, and it's oh god, and then just keeps walking.
After about another hour of walking, everybody can make me a perception check.
14.
Oh. Not 20 plus
19.
18.
15.
Okay.
22.
Okay,
Nat
so
20.
everybody, I guess I can roll for Lauren. Lauren rolls a 2. He's the only one who does not notice. So you guys notice as you are walking through, there is, you can see rising above the trees, there is a hilly, rocky, elevated area up ahead of you. And as you approach, you guys can hear, before you can see, the sounds of several individuals who are talking with one another in sort of low-ish voices. Not quite whispering, but definitely keeping their voices down.
And I was just about to ask Rowan if she wanted to make a bet to see how many of them were dead, but I guess I won't do that anymore.
Nobody that you hear whispering to each other up ahead sounds like they're dead, so you can't gauge by that.
Well, I guess they're not dead, so we should probably go over there.
As you indicate that, Vanguard Lauren turns his head and he says, "Ah, well spotted." He he gestures towards you. He says, "Good ear, Saoirse. I had not heard them in that direction. Let's go quickly. It sounds like they're unharmed for now." And the group of you head off. Lauren raises his voice just slightly as you get a little closer, and he says, "Ho there! We've come from the village behind. We're here to help." The talking stops, and a few moments later, 4 individuals come out of the underbrush ahead of you. They are all 3 male, all 4 male, all 4 human. 2 of them look to be in their late 40s. 2 of them are much younger, closer to our recruits here, closer to your guys' age, late teens-ish sort of age. One of the older 2 men approaches and he says, "By the heavens," he said, "what blessings have we earned that a group of paladins of the dawn should come upon us in our time of need." And Vanguard Lauren says, think nothing of it, my friend. The good folks back at your village informed us of the situation, and we've come to assist you. And the man says, "Well, my name is Jameson, and, he points behind him. He says, there's a crevasse in the rock just there with a hollow about 15-20 feet back. That is where the troll is bedded down. We followed it here last night. Right now we think it's sleeping. We were just discussing what we should do about it, and how to proceed, but now that you're here, I'll turn full control over to you. Just tell us how we can help." And Vanguard Lauren turns again to you guys, 3 recruits, and he says, "Recruit Rowan, Recruit Owen, Recruit Saoirse. You understand the situation we're in. Troll is there." He says, "We have our numbers here. We are armed with the weaponry we have before us, torches. We have the 4 townspeople also at our disposal. What is your plan of attack? How do we proceed?"
Do the townspeople have weapons?
2 of the townspeople have pitchforks. One of the younger men has a scythe that you would harvest grain with, and one of the other townsmen, younger men, does have a simple short sword.
There's Rowan's counting people. There's 10 of us. The troll. We have fire. We all have weapons. Have you found, to the townsman, to Jameson, I say, have you discovered a way on the other side, or does this appear to be the only entrance?
As far as we know, this is the only way in or out.
If we could surround it, we would have a better chance of getting it from all sides and taking it out before it can even get up, if it is sleeping. I look at Vanguard for a second. Kind of deferring, but I'm not sure about timing of attacking trolls.
He kind of quirks an eyebrow at you, and he says, "Are you suggesting that we file through the crevasse into its lair? Or..."
I'm wondering if it has an escape on the other side, or if luring it out would work. But if it can get out and around while we think we're safe here, we'd also need to know that.
He turns Effany and Ralph towards you. He says, "What is your assessment of the situation?"
What time of day is it?
It's like
It's like early morning, right?
It's probably midday-ish at this
Midday?
point, because it's taking you a few hours to get out here.
In theory, we have time to go scout to see if there is a second entrance, but I do believe a distraction to pull it towards us. to be the better option. It's going inside.
Excuse me, sorry. Excuse me. A distraction's great and all, but like, you all saw that tree, right? What does a distraction matter if it just comes out and starts swinging at us? It's ambush people, come on. This is how I would start fights with people in bars. You make them think that you're super weak, you leave them out, and then you ambush them. So like, let's ambush it. Duh.
That's what I'm saying. We ambush it once it comes out.
I look at Owen like, oh.
It's fine. My dad just sent me here for like a year or two because I'm a troubled teen. I'll be out of here soon. Don't
I look at the leader like, and
He just like he just very imperceptibly like shakes his head at you like we're not gonna get into this now.
I step
while flipping a lighter open close.
Step closer to Owen. I shift completely away. I go right next to nope.
Vanguard Lauren says he says sound assessment all around. Trolls are notoriously stupid. If we make enough noise, it will likely come out and attack the first person it sees. The rest of us can wait out of sight and ambush it when it comes out. Though, kind of like looks, he says, it seems unlikely based on the topography that there is a back entrance to this this cavern. It does not hurt to be prudent if we have the time. He says, recruit Rowan. It was your idea. I will leave you tasked with scouting. He kind of like looks at the sun. He says, take the next 20 minutes. See if you can find another exit and then return here. If you find nothing, we will assume that there is no way out of the cave for the troll. We will lure it out and set up our ambush.
Is there any way that we could set up some kind of simple trap outside of its lair when we lure it out to gain an advantage? Something as simple to trip it and cause it to fall? I mean, we used to do that all the time. Dad and I used to do that with wild hogs in the wilderness all the time when we were hunting them.
Lauren looks to you. He says, well, you have 20 minutes. See what you can find.
Oh, 20 minutes?
I start running to go look. Not running, like.
Okay, so Rowan, you're gonna make a survival check. Phyxis, you can make a.
Sorry, sir, that's Owen.
Oh yeah, sorry, Owen. I should have like changed all your. Anyway, Owen, you can make a. Kind of check makes sense for fashioning traps. I guess let's also call it a survival check because you're trying to find like materials with which to make a trap. The other three of you, if you guys like would like to do something during this like 20-minute period that the Vanguard has given you to like prepare, you can do so. The thing that Vanguard Lauren is going to do is going to have each of the group of you hand off your torches to the villagers. He basically like, and his instruction is basically like, our weapons will be more effective than yours, and we would be better suited with both hands to use them with. He basically just instructs the villagers to like stick near one of you guys and just focus on like repeatedly trying to just jab this thing with the firebrands, the lit torches, as you guys protect them and focus on fighting.
Question.
Yes.
Do we have alcohol?
I was literally gonna be like, I want to set the sword on fire.
I wanna blow alcohol over the fire.
You don't. Is the answer to that question.
I will ask the villagers if they have like a flask of wine or something.
They do.
Perfect.
One of them, the older one that is not Jameson, pulls out like a jug of moonshine. It's like a big brown jug with 3 red X's on the front of it.
That's all I need.
We're just gonna blind the troll. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not swallowing. I'm spitting.
Okay, Rowan, what is your survival check?
15.
Okay, you do not find any other like side entrances or exits or anything like that to this this little crevasse.
So no way
cavern.
for it to get out, and
not that you're able to find any
us
of the time
around it. Okay,
right.
Got it. I come back as soon as I can tell that. Like the second I confirm that, I'm booking it back, so I'm not wasting time.
And Owen, what have you discovered?
I rolled a 10.
With a 10, you are you are able to find like somebody in this group of like right. You're all this is D&D. Somebody got 50 feet of rope. So you get some rope. With a 10, there doesn't appear to be like a great place to like anchor this thing to like make a trip line. As far as you can see, like you kind of think like, well, if we want to use this, we got to have two people hold it on either side of the like the cave entrance, and are going to have to manually like pull this thing. So I'll leave that to you guys if you employ that tactic or not. You can have two of the villagers can do it if you want to have them do it.
Saoirse, hey, I've got
What?
a question for you.
Yeah.
So listen. There really isn't a place to anchor this, and I don't really have the time to hide it. If you grab that side of the rope and wait on the other side, and kind of wrap it around your hand and kind of grip it real tight, I'll pull from the other side, and we just got to pull it taut. You get it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Are you up for that?
I guess.
I mean, we don't really have any place to go, so we're kind of sitting out here.
Don't worry, my dad's coming for me. But yeah, that sounds really fun. Like, I guess I'll do it.
Like now?
Do I
He's
hear
coming
that as I
right
come
now?
back? Can I be coming around the corner and
Yeah,
hear
sure.
that?
He's gonna come get me anytime. This is just like he's just mad at me.
So like he could just randomly show up right here in the forest.
Probably he's like really rich and powerful.
Who is your dad?
I don't know. You're asking questions that Victoria doesn't have the answers
His
to.
name is Dadsha. So
Yeah.
as you guys
I'll help.
I'm gonna stand near Saoirse for
Okay.
this. I'm not putting in, but I'm going to be just there,
Okay.
just in case.
In case she needs to have a little accident, I get it.
In case something goes wrong and she doesn't actually do her part.
Okay.
Owen rushes to the other side and gets ready.
All right. So you two have the rope. Vanguard Lauren, he like gestures.
It's just finds 5 gold.
Good. Flex is not here right now, but he does find it. Vanguard, Lauren, Effany, and Ralph. He like gestures to you guys. He takes like dead center in front of the caravan, or in front of the crevasse. And he like sets you guys on either side of him so that like as this thing runs out, like it comes face first, like to the three of you. And with he leaves 15 feet, enough room for them like these guys to try and trip it and whatever else. The villagers like fan out on either side of them, and everybody is in position. He like looks to the three of you, kind of gives a nod, and then he like brings his shield from his back and draws his sword. He looks to all of you. He says, "Ready."
Ready.
Very good.
Whatever.
And then he just begins like bang, 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 like clanging his sword on his shield real hard to make a bunch of noise. And after like 10 seconds of that, you hear from within the the rocky opening in the side of the cliff there, you hear and then you hear like, and a few moments later, a large clawed green gray flabby fleshy hand like comes to the side of the stone, and like pulling itself out is this hunched, ugly, like scabby, disgusting looking troll. It has like a tangled rat's nest of long hair. It has these like beady little yellow eyes that like scan for the source of the noise, locking on Vanguard Lauren. It wears a tattered, stinking, fetid loincloth around its hips, and as it comes like out of the cave, it like heightens itself up to its full height. It's like hunched over back, straightening out until it stands up to the height of about 8 feet tall. The trailing arm as it comes out is dragging what is little more than a tree trunk that has had all of the like branches stripped off of it, and it like brings this club up over its shoulder. Everybody roll initiative.
Dirty 20.
19.
Oh my god, Michael, I swear to God, we're supposed to be partners. Y'all really thought I was the weakest link.
I got a 7.
I got a 15.
It's okay. It's okay. I literally had a plan for. I literally had a plan for this because I'm a troublemaker. I know how to
Do it.
fight.
Do it. Get scrappy, BB.
Oh boy.
Alrighty. Sorry, you're gonna have to read your initiatives to me again.
20.
20.
19.
15.
15.
Ralph is
And I
an
had a
IA.
and I had a 7.
7. Alrighty, then even though you made a bunch of noise and clanged at it a bunch of times, it was asleep and it's groggy and dumb that it comes out, and the second that it comes out is gives you guys the opportunity to now everybody jump on it. So you will still get a surprise round on this thing, which is going to bring us then to Saoirse as our first in the initiative.
So if Owen and I are trying to pull the rote taut to trip it, but we have vastly different initiatives, what does that mean? If I pull him, what happens?
Why I gave you guys the surprise round so that I wouldn't jack that up too much. So you can basically say for the surprise round that you hold your action to pull with Owen.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay. The next to act then is going to be Vanguard Lauren. As it comes out, he readies his stance with his two fellow Radiant Dawn soldiers beside him. And he is going to hold an action because he is not going to step forward until you guys try your trip line maneuver. So he's going to hold his action that if it steps out and falls, he is positioned just so that where it falls, it should be in stabbing range. The next in the initiative will be Effany.
I take a swig of the moonshine and also hold my action with the torch at the ready.
Okay, cool. The villagers are going to go next. They will hold their actions to essentially wait for one of you guys to do something, and their instruction of just prod with torch holds true. The troll would be next. It is surprised this round. Rowan, that brings us to you.
Seeing that no one else has made a move yet and we are waiting for that trip line, I am going to do the same. I will probably move to stand kind of guarding one of the villagers a little bit.
Okay.
Block them a bit more and in stabby range if it should fall.
Okay.
But holding stab.
Okay. Ralph, I'm just going to put you last in the initiative since you were out of the room, but we're in a surprise round essentially. Everybody's holding actions to try and trip this troll. So that's Rowan. That brings us to Owen. So now Owen and Saoirse, you can make your trip line maneuver. You guys go ahead and make me athletics check.
That's a 14.
Okay. 14 to 10. Okay. All right. We'll see how that plays out in a second here. So that I don't waste a second turn for you guys. I'll resolve the trip line at the end of the first round of initiative. Ralph, you are on the shield side of Vanguard Lauren, and Effany is on the sword side of Vanguard Lauren. You guys are flanking with each other. About 15 feet back, in front of this troll cave, and both the Vanguard and Paladin and Effany have are like holding position to see if the recruits are able to like trip this thing onto its face before advancing. What are you doing? Anything?
I guess same, just like waiting to see if they.
Okay. Alright, I'm gonna roll for the troll. And I'm gonna say he needs. It was a 10 and a 14, was what you guys rolled? So I'm gonna say he needs to beat a 12 on a dexterity check or be tripped prone by your rope. He gets an 8. So he sees Vanguard Lauren standing there defiantly, and his troll face like twists in rage. And he takes a step forward and immediately hits the rope and like and falls prone.
As he's falling, I'd like to unleash the flames.
Yes, everybody who's got a held action can do so. So you can make a let's just call it a ranged attack, so an attack with dexterity. Vanguard Lauren.
How far away am I from the troll?
It basically falls so that like its head and shoulders are now at your feet.
Okay, all right, so it's in melee range.
Yeah.
And Owen would immediately, like, once that troll started to fall, would immediately let go of that rope so it didn't rip the flesh off of the palms of his hands.
Sure.
There's a 19 and a 15 hit.
Yes.
They both
21.
hit.
Yes. I'll
Just
just tell you
wait
to
on
save
the
you guys time. The
21.
mark for the AC is 15.
Okay.
Vanguard Lauren also hits.
Yay. Points of stabby stab from Rowan.
All right, 10 points from Rowan. Lauren does 7 points. I'll get to Effie in a sec.
13 points of damage.
13 from Ralph. That was all of the melee attacks, right? Okay. Effie, go ahead and roll me a d6 of fire damage. The 4 villagers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 of the 4 villagers also managed to lunge forward and stab it with their swords or their torches.
5.
Okay. And an additional 2d6 from the villagers is an additional 8. Okay. Very effectively, the troll comes out, is tripped to the ground, and everybody just piles onto it. Lauren yells out, "No!" and stabs Effie like a circus performer, like blows this like spray of horrible like 100-proof grain alcohol, which immediately billows into flame. Ralph, you slash down into one of its shoulders. The villagers, 2 of the villagers kind of like balk, almost as much at the big like flame ball as the troll, but 2 of them like maintain their composure. One of the younger man who had the short sword, and Jameson both like and stab it with their torches. The troll from the ground goes like slams one of its fists into the ground, and you feel the like vibration beneath your feet. That is going to bring us back to the top of the order with Saoirse. The troll is still on the ground, and you watch now actually as the injuries that you guys dealt to it do not seem to be healing in any way, as the villagers had indicated that they were last night.
So, Owen letting go of the rope kind of changed some of my plans, but I am going to commit to what I was going to do.
Okay.
As soon as it trips, she still holds her rope and wants to, I basically want to run out and try to tie this rope.
Around its feet?
So that it, when it tries to get up, it keeps tripping, or it,
Alrighty.
can't get up.
Okay. Then let's say, make a sleight of hand check.
Alright, I don't trust any of my dice. That's nothing. No specific, just dex.
Hits.
Yo, it's a 19.
19. Okay. So I'm gonna say the DC for this thing to get out of those like ropes is gonna be a 19, matching your sleight of hand check. Otherwise, it will be essentially like grappled, where it's not gonna be able to move freely.
And then I just like draw my sword and I look over at Owen and I'm like, I've done this before, just not to like a troll. To my dad.
Alrighty. Vanguard Lauren is up again. He is going to attack. He like slashes down into it, but it is like thrashing on the ground, and it like whips that big trunk club, and his sword is like caught and battered aside. He does not manage to connect with it. Effany, that brings us to you.
Alright, I'm gonna toss the torch to one of the other villagers and tell them to, like, hit him with the flame next.
Okay.
And I'm going to do 2 long sword attacks.
Alright, roll to hit.
That's a natural one.
Ooh,
For the first
okay.
hit. Oh yeah, that's a natural 18 plus 5 to hit on the second.
Okay. Alrighty. Go ahead and roll damage on the second one.
Oh, it's a D10. Oops. Uh, 12 damage.
Nice. Okay. The villagers are going to go. All 4 of them are going to make their attacks. Hit. Miss. Miss. Hit. 2 of them again hit the troll, dealing an additional 9 points of fire damage. The troll roars as it is burned. It is the stench from burning troll is not great, but it definitely appears to be like bloodied as you guys hack into like its head and shoulders, as it is like prone on the ground, and it sort of like weeble wobbles as it's trying to right itself. But Saoirse has like quick tied its legs together. That is going to bring the troll up. The troll like pushes itself up, like it can't quite get up because its feet are tied together, but it gets up to like its knees, which is enough of a like a height that it is like level with you guys. And rather than try to get up any further, it is just going to make 3 attacks. It is going to attack. Let's see, who's the last?
Oh wait,
folks
did I
that
have
hit it?
advantage on?
Oh yeah, probably.
prone?
Oh, I should have rolled that for.
Hang on. So-
Lauren didn't hit anyway.
Yeah, I think it hit.
Okay. Go ahead and roll some extra damage. As you do that, I will start making attacks for it. It is going to attack the 3 people right in front of him. 1 apiece for Effany, Vanguard Lauren, and Ralph.
13 additional damage.
13 additional damage. Okay, got it. And Effany does a... This thing's plus... Does a 17 hit your AC?
That is my AC.
Okay. Vanguard Lauren... it's a nat 1 against Vanguard Lauren. And Ralph, a 22. Effany, you take 7 points of slashing damage as it slashes its claw at you. It swings its club at Lauren, who like basically like braces his shield like this and just absorbs the hit. And Ralph, it lunges forward and bites into your shoulder, dealing 7 points of piercing damage to you.
Cool.
that is its turn. Rowan, that brings us to you. This troll like lashes at these three paladins who like close ranks and form like a phalanx, keeping it from being able to knock them down. The villagers are like darting in and out, stabbing at it. It is like confused. It is bleeding. It is furious. It does not look to be in great shape. And it is sort of like currently it's like its knees are to the ground and it's got one hand on the ground as it like lashes out. So its like head and shoulders are vaguely like chest height to you.
Because I can't do anything else, and I'm just gonna do what we've been told. I'm going to stab at it.
All right, roll to hit.
It's a 19 on the dice, so
Ooh,
whatever.
definitely hits.
What's my plus with just a longsword? That's 11 points of damage to it.
11 points of damage. Rowan, you rush up from behind this thing as it is the Vanguard and his fellow Dawn fighters are keeping its attention. The torches coming in left and right. You run up, you find an opening from behind it, and you just drive your sword down into the back of its neck, going to the base of its skull, and the sword like comes out just below like the eye on the other side of its head, and it goes like and falls dead to the ground. At Vanguard Lauren's instruction, the villagers continue to like pummel it with torches for a while. Eventually, a pyre is built and the troll is burned, ensuring it will not return and plague the villagers any longer. Successful in your mission, the group of you all head back to the town. The townsfolk are extremely grateful. Rowan, you sense that the Vanguard and the other two members of the Radiant Dawn are rather impressed by all three of you. True to their word, in fact, several of the young townspeople are interested in signing up for the Radiant Dawn. In fact, one of the young men who you guys fought the troll with joins the caravan, and as you guys are ready to depart, he comes over to you and he extends a hand to shake. And he smiles at you and he says, "God, that was some impressive fighting. It's really nice to meet you. My name is Malark Harr."
Rowan smiles really big at him. She says, "Rowan, good to know that you aren't afraid of trolls, I guess."
Or dragons.
And with that, we advance. Your caravan takes you the rest of the way to the city of Lyra. Lyra is a smudge of a city nestled between two rocky mountain peaks that border what you know to be the gateway to the Blighted Peninsula. The city itself sitting at the lowest point of elevation. It is an exercise in brutalist architecture. The buildings are square, they are unadorned, the walls are high, and they are very thick. You enter into the city and you see that everything here is bleak, but not in a hopeless way. People that you pass on the street, they walk with their spines straight and their jaws set and their eyes determined. The swirling gray clouds in the sky threaten rain. But the people here are unbent by the dreary nature. This is a city bent to a purpose. And that purpose stems from the massive fortress that lies on the western edge of the city. Fort Dawn, home of the Order. You are led into a large hall. You see other groups of other recruits from other places across the kingdoms are led in. Eventually, you gather at the front of this hall. It is a largely unadorned space with long tables lining the floors, benches spaced evenly among them. The only decoration are swords, shields, banners, and other implements of war, which have been placed along the pillars throughout the room. Many of them are damaged as if they were recovered from a battlefield. At the back of the hall, there is a raised dais in front of a massive set of windows, 20 feet high, spanning the entire width of the wall. Through the windows, you can now see beyond Lyra to the west. The steep mountains that flank either side of a long, low valley. In between there and the base of Lyra's walls, about a mile stretch of land. You see that stretch of land has been utterly scoured of every tree, shrub, stone, or slight topographical change, leaving a perfectly flat and barren no man's land between the city walls and the mouth of the valley. All along the no man's land are these strange-looking pikes sticking out of the ground in a grid pattern. The tops of them glow with a faint golden light. Beyond, you see into the mouth of the valley itself. Beyond that, the blighted peninsula. Dark, sunless, seeming to physically seethe with shadow, too dense and viscous to account for a simple absence of light. Something in the pit of your stomach turns as you look at it. You hear one of the other recruits somewhere to your left actually retches. But then a heavy curtain is drawn across the window, hiding the sight from your view. A man in blue and white enameled armor, wearing a tabard depicting the rising sun over a horizon, the crest of the radiant dawn, steps onto the dais at the front of the room. He is intimidatingly large, even more so in his gleaming armor, but his eyes twinkle as he smiles down at you all. Something about his presence seems to physically warm the room, and whether it be that you can no longer see out towards the blighted lands beyond, or if it's something about his aura, that nauseated feeling subsides somewhat. He speaks. Recruits, I am Grand Marshal Martellus Andesius. As the leader of the Order of the Radiant Dawn and commander of the Dawn Fort, I have made it my responsibility to greet the new prospective adepts each year. I am humbled that this year we have such a large group who wish to undertake the trials and join our ranks. There may even be some amongst you with the strength of conviction to rise above the rank of file, become paladins of the dawn, like myself, or Vanguard Lauren, or Vanguard Effany. Then his smile fades and his expression becomes stern and resolute. However, hear me well and heed my words. Some of you have come here entertaining dreams of glory, grandeur, and adventure. You have come thinking to reinvent yourselves as heroes, that you will live a life the likes of which you've heard bards weave, tales of our exploits, slaying monsters, living in our golden towers. Look around you. He gestures towards the bleak walls of the hall and to the side windows out to the perpetually gray sky. Here we are driven not by vanity, ego, or a desire for glory. Duty and service are our driving principles. We are the last and only line of defense between the lands of all mortal races on Orahul and a fate infinitely worse than death. We alone stand between the horrors on the other side of that valley and the innocent people in the homes you have left behind. You saw the expanse behind me. That open stretch of land between here and the mouth of the valley. Know that every foot of that land has been paid for with the life of one of the Dawn, 100 times and 100 times again, over 1,000 and 1,000 more years that this order has held the line. If you choose this path, you dedicate everything you are to this cause. If you choose this path, we will train you to be the most stalwart warriors Orahul has ever known. We will forge you to be a bulwark of iron will, a sword to lash out against evil, and a shield held firm in defense of the good and the innocent. We will make you the radiant light of dawn that burns away the darkest night. All of this we will do, not for glory, not to make you heroes. We will do this to try and keep some of you alive. And for many of you, despite all of this, we will fail. I have buried more men and women than some of you have ever known in your life. I will bury more before my time is done. I tell you this not because I want to frighten you, but because you need to be frightened. Those who walk this path must possess an unwavering will and be willing to lay down their life if need be. There is no other choice for us. Tonight, we'll dine and rest in the Adept Barracks. Tomorrow, your training begins. Any who wish to leave, do so before then. This is the last chance to have a change of heart. Go, knowing that there is no shame in leaving. For those who will choose to remain, welcome to the Order of the Radiant Dawn. And with that, you are dismissed from the chamber. Give me 1 second as I let a poor suffering dog out of this room.
Thank you, chat, for the Nimue player inspiration. She will get that when we're back to playing the pirates.
Oh, thanks.
We'll probably
gosh.
need it when we get back to Pirates Land. So good job,
Yeah.
chat.
Effany can get fucked. Just for Nimue.
Okay. So, Rowan, 3 of your fellow recruits leave that first night. But the 17 of you that remain are roused the next day to begin your training. You are outfitted with a uniform and a set of training equipment, which weighs you down heavily as the group of you are marched to a training field in an abysmal downpour of rain. A cold, miserable deluge that you will soon come to learn falls over Lyra almost every day of the year. An obstacle course stretches across the field. Tests of strength, agility, and sheer physical endurance. Your group is put through the paces, push-ups, sit-ups, running, carrying heavy sandbags across a stretch of field, all of which leave you exhausted even before you are led to the obstacle course. The trainer, a severe elven woman called Instructor Igoma, with an eye patch over her right eye and 3 inches missing from her right ear, takes an hourglass and sets it on a table. She tells the group of you, you will complete the course in time, or you will repeat it. Rowan, go ahead and make me an athletics check at disadvantage.
Oh boy. Okay. Okay. At disadvantage? Athletics check.
Disadvantage.
That's a 12.
12. You do middlingly well on the course at first. Tired as you are, and heavy as your equipment is, you are right in the main pack as you all reach the final obstacle of the obstacle course. You have army crawled beneath rope courses, you have walked balance beams, you have jumped over spans. The final obstacle you reach is a pair of twinned, high vertical walls with ropes suspended from them from scaling. You watch as other recruits ahead of you scramble, heave themselves up. You begin to climb, but you can't make it to the top. You slip, begin to ascend again, but as you do, a whistle cuts the air, and you see that the hourglass has run out. You and several of the other recruits do not finish fast enough. You discover that it is not only those who didn't complete in time who repeat. Everyone does.
Oh no.
With grumbles and groans, the lot of you start over.
Okay.
And over. And over.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, You were the only one unable to complete the course. For hours, mercilessly, Igoma forces the group to start again. Your fellow recruits become increasingly hostile in their attitude towards you with each repetition. Finally, after you have long since lost count on the number of times you have run this course, you reach the wall. Last, again. You don't look over. You can feel the glares of the others on you where they stand to the side, having finished. You dare not look at the hourglass to see how much time is left. You take the slick rope in your hands, you put your foot against the wall, and you realize you can't do it. You are simply not strong enough. You don't have any reserve left. Everything that you came here to do, everything you came here to become, everything you wanted to prove to your mother, to your siblings, to yourself, it all ends at this fucking wall in the rain, in the mud, on your first day. You hear the splosh of a pair of boots approaching from the sideline. Hey, Rowan. Malark smiles at you, his brown hair plastered to his face in a solid sheen of rainwater and mud. Lovely weather we're having, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
He grins and he says, care for a climb?
I would love to climb this fucking rope.
He walks around behind you. He turns around, puts his back against your back, reaches backward and laces his arms under yours and brings them around, locking them. You now stand back to back between the two twinned walls. And he goes, let's try this. Feet up and walk.
Okay.
Make an athletics check.
16.
You begin to climb 1 foot after the other on the slick surface of the wall, ignoring the ropes and simply pressing against each other's backs, supporting one another up. 5 feet, 10, 15, 20. You reach the top of the wall. From behind you, breathing through the exertion, Malark says, okay, so one of us is going to have to push while the other one reaches out and grabs the railing, and then hopefully keeps the other one from falling.
Yeah.
You want to push or you want to pull?
I think I'll push you.
He says,
I think my legs are a bit better than my arms right now.
He says, okay. Whew, count of 3. 1, 2, now. And you heave with your legs as he lets go of one of your arms and reaches forward. You feel the shock through his back as he grabs onto the railing on the side, and immediately his weight pulls away from yours and you begin to slip. His other arm holds you fast, and eventually you end up, him holding onto the railing, you dangling from his arm, and together the two of you, until you can get your bearings, grab the top of the platform at the top of the wall, clamber your way up, and reach over and pull Malark up behind you. The two of you lay panting for a moment on the top of the wall before you stand up and you look down. You see each and every other one of the recruits looking at you, looking at Malark, turning back to look at Igoma, who stands perfectly still, face neutral, whistle in hand, looking at both of you. She turns her head, and you follow her gaze to the hourglass, and you see the last of the sand drop to the bottom. The instructor picks it up, tucks it back into her cloak. She turns to the group at large, and she says simply, course cleared. You are dismissed for the day. That evening, many of your fellow recruits pointedly ignore you, Rowan. Still seething over the day's events, you overhear much speculation as to the unorthodox end of the training and whether you or Malark are going to be punished for his interference in helping you complete. He merely catches your eye across the common room, gives you a wink, and grins. The next day, you are not punished, and Malark is made captain of your recruit group. Rowan, we now blur through the next 2 years as you are trained at Fort Dawn. We see you training, studying, and working alongside Malark and your fellow recruits. You form friendly rivalries, friendships, and bonds with your fellow year recruits, but no bond so strong as with Malark. After that first day, the two of you are stuck together like glue. He quickly makes you his second, and the two of you become fast friends, and once they get over the shock of that first day, respected by your fellows. Over these 2 years, the Dawn teaches you how to fight. They teach you survival craft. They teach you field medicine, tactics, history, religion. We see bits and pieces, moments of your training, moments of your life. Notably, we see the first time you call upon the light. The moment that you found what the Order refers to as your driving will. The Order trains its recruits on the tenets of their divine calling, teaches them to dedicate themselves to the service of the Star of Dawn, the mysterious source of Dawn Paladin's powers. Trains them to draw strength from within, bolstered by the promise of the Star of Dawn to give strength to those who are worthy. And then they push recruits beyond the bounds of any normal tolerance in very specific ways, attempting to find within them a central, pure truth of character strong enough to call forth the light. Most do not possess it. In fact, of your original class of 17 recruits, only 2 went on to undergo paladin training. Malark was the first. His driving will, what the Dawn calls the will of righteous fury, manifest during a training sortie to the Order's forward outpost when your group was ambushed by the nightmarish blight shades that infest the lands. Malark believed one of your comrades had been struck down and killed, and though the soldier ended up surviving, in that moment he called forth a divine strike from his weapon and smote the creature in 2. I'm going to turn it to you for a moment and put you on the spot. What was Rowan's first calling of the light, and what were the circumstances that brought it on?
It was probably another excursion, and probably another creature attacking. But instead it was a healing moment.
Okay.
And it was probably Malark.
Okay.
Probably thinking her friend was dead. Finding him in the mud and flashing back to that first day and seeing his blood mixed in with the mud and the rain, and not seeing his chest moving and being convinced he was gone, and just screaming, and then a blast of healing light coming out.
You rush to Malark, down in the dirt. Your fellow paladins rush past you, shields interlocking, protecting you. They fight off the blight monster, backing away. You scream, thinking your friend is gone, and the light rushes from you, and with a great Malark's eyes shoot open. He looks down, the wound in his stomach closed. He looks up to you, and he just laughs. You did it!
You jerk!
He takes your shoulder and uses your support to help him get up. And he says, well, if that was what it took to finally prove that you had it in you, I'd get gut stabbed by a monster any day.
Not again. Just not you again, okay? That
Rowan,
was tiring.
you return to the Dawn Fort, and when word of what took place happens, you are summoned to begin your paladin training, and you learn that your driving will is what's known as the will of the Stalwart Protector. And after calling upon the light, Rowan, you begin your training as a Paladin of the Dawn in earnest. We see more scenes from your time in Lyra, the passage of another year. You see important moments for her. And we're going to see those moments together now. Brittany, each person at the table has something for you. A scene from Rowan's past. I would like you to choose, one at a time, whose scene we see. You can pick whatever order you'd like. Each of your 4 fellow players have one, and I have one. We will go in order as you choose them. So as we flash through this final year of Rowan's time at the Dawn Fort, and her training, her advanced training as a paladin and her studies, who would you like to throw to first?
What would cause the most and least emotional damage? I don't know.
Spoiler alert, they will all cause the most emotional damage.
I'm just gonna go in order in order, and I'm just gonna go with Russell first since he's the top left for me.
Okay, Russell, set the scene.
I stare at Russell all the time because he's right above my camera, so I'm going with Russell.
As many a night, Rowan finds herself secluded in Lyra's library. And I imagine Rowan is probably poring over some massive tomes and whatnot. As she suddenly hears a voice, doesn't see anybody, but hears a voice. Ah, burning the midnight oil again, are we? Young Rowan?
Turn and I look.
You know well enough to turn and then look down. As Arch Librarian Mickle is like carrying a stack of books like taller than he is, and he like puts them down. And he's a little gnome, and he has like glasses that are like Coke bottle thick. Anything interesting today? Or tonight, for that matter? What day is it? What? I lose track of time in here.
I do too, which is... Did we miss dinner again?
Oh, I don't usually go down for dinner. I have them bring it here. If I go to dinner, it'll be tomorrow by the time I walk across the castle to get there.
That's fair. Rowan goes in her pack and pulls out an apple and cuts it in half and splits it with Arch Librarian Mickle, and then just looks down at the book. No, this one's just about, you know, the blight shades, and it's an account from an old captain and suspected weaknesses before he passed. Just wondering what more we can do.
That's sort of our job around here. We're always wondering what more we can do to fight off the blight. Some might tell you that the answers are at the edge of a sword, but I would say that you are correct. They are found in books. I am in the process of yet again reorganizing the river fishing section. It gets a lot of action, you know.
I guess it does. I think I need to spend more time over there, but maybe that's tomorrow's project. After you've reorganized, of course.
Yes, of course. People are real interested in it. I don't know why.
There's a lot of rivers.
And a lot of fish!
Rowan sits back and just looks at the book, and it's just... She knows she's getting to the end because she's read this one before, and she knows that it's almost at the end of the captain's records before he was killed, and she just sighs. This is one of the men that was buried, nearly at the end.
There's a lot of men buried, but fortunately their stories live on in our tomes. Oh, that reminds me, I found a book the other day. It was under a shelf sort of hidden. I thought it might be interesting to you, since I know you've looked at most of the tomes in here. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't exactly remember where I put it. Give me a moment. And he, like, scuttles away, and you see him, like, go up to his desk that requires, like, a ladder for him to get up to. He's like, oh, it's here, sir. Ah, yes, here it is. You might as well come get it. It'll take far too long for me to walk all the way back over there.
I walk over to his desk.
And he, like, hands you this little book. It's, like, about this big, black cover. He says, it's a rather unassuming little book. There's not even a name on the spine, but if you open it up, you can see here. The title is Greatest Pirate Adventures Ever Told. I'm not sure if it's fiction or not, but it seemed interesting.
I've never seen this one. I wonder, yeah, fiction or not. I haven't read much on pirates, so thank you. This will be interesting, at least. Never.
And you know what? And he, like, looks at it and he goes, this doesn't even seem to have a catalog number. I honestly don't know how this got here. Well, I guess you better just keep it. I've got too many books, and I'm not cataloging anything else.
Thank you. I'll let you know if it's any good, and then you can let me know if you want to borrow it.
Oh, sure. Not too interested in pirates, though. Bunch of weirdos, if you ask me.
I've never met a pirate. I don't imagine I ever will, but...
I met a pirate once.
You did?
No, it might have been a parrot. It might have been a pirate with a parrot. I don't know. You get to be my age, everything sort of blends together.
You've never told me your age.
And I never will.
I think that's a good place to sunset that scene. Who is your next scene with?
I'll keep the order and go to Christy.
Alrighty.
Hey Matt, can you look at the group chat really
You're
quick,
good.
please?
You're good.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with Ethany. I think it's gonna be. We're gonna go back a little bit, probably shortly after her first heal of Malark.
Okay.
Maybe Rowan has been struggling to recreate that moment. And Ethany wants to focus it.
Oh, the return of Ethany. Okay. Cool.
I think the scene starts with them probably in her quarters. She has a lot of like herbs and like herbalism kits around. She's definitely more of the healer. She can fight, but she started off on like battle medicine. But now that she's shown promise with magical healing, Ethany says, I'm very proud that you found your spark. But that spark does nothing if you can't recreate it. What were you feeling in that moment?
Fear.
Just fear?
Probably anger. I mean, sure, everyone's nice now, but everyone hated me in the beginning. He was my only friend for a long time.
Is that all you feel for Malark, is fear and anger?
Rowan's quiet for a little while. Yeah,
What's underneath that?
he's my best friend. can't lose your best friend like that. Not in front of you. I know that we're not both. She kind of motions to where they are. Ever gonna get out of this alive. But if I can keep him going, if he can keep fighting, if he can keep protecting this world, then I've done my job better. And that's the role we're meant to play.
Do you love yourself, Rowan?
Say again?
Do you love yourself?
Yeah. I love who I'm becoming.
Good. Hold on to that. Because you won't always feel fear or anger. That's not where the spark is reignited. If you're out just in a village and you have to heal a scraped knee of a crying child, are you in fear?
No.
So
Probably
take
not.
that love that's building in yourself, for yourself, and spread it to those around you. And she's going to take out a dagger. She's cutting the palm of her hand.
That's cheap. That's
Breathe.
that's low.
Rowan. Rowan, breathe. What do you feel?
That I don't want you to be hurting.
Why?
Because even though you're my trainer, you're my friend. And I don't like when my friends are hurt.
What if I was a stranger?
No one should bleed. It's not the way.
So focus on that love, focus on that compassion, and try. And I'll hold out my hand.
I take it, not even caring about blood on my hand or anything, and just clasp it tightly between my own, and close my eyes and try to do lay on hands.
Look for my spark.
Rowan focuses on what she felt with Malark, but also now what Effie just said with can't always come from fear, and it has to do with compassion and love and about caring for anyone around you. And pictures the cut on her hand in her head and tries to heal it.
DM?
Oh, I'm not here.
Oh, okay.
I'm not here right now.
Let's do a roll for it.
Okay.
I'll give you advantage because you picked up on what you're supposed to focus on.
Okay. 17 on the dice.
Yeah, even with your whatever check I was going to add to it.
Yeah.
You see Effie smiles. You don't usually see like a soft smile. Usually it's like wry, but this one's genuinely soft and impressed.
Rowan opens one eye slowly to see it, and then releases her hand slowly and just. Wait, really? And she grabs her hand and
One more time, and I'm gonna slash at her upper arm.
Oh, what? All right.
Repetition.
Again.
You
That's
still
a
have advantage.
19 on the dice. It's
Yeah,
fine.
you're good.
It's fine.
And thus begins a very long and very strange relationship where Effie just cuts you and other people around you. and
Just
then makes you
randomly
feel-
there, Rowan.
Oh, very good.
After he becomes a very strange
And
figure in
eventually
Rowan's
Effie is
past.
kicked out of the order. For a second.
This is
Okay. 2 down, 3 to go. Who is your next scene?
Michael.
All right, Michael.
All right. So, during some of your combat training with the Radiant Dawn, you have a particular trainer who is a tactical sword and shield trainer for the Radiant Dawn by the name of Howden Crossleaf. He is a tall human man of probably late 50s, short gray hair that flicks up in the front, wrinkles under the eyes and upon his brow with a very rugged look upon his face. Several small scars adorn his face, which he wears as reminders of past mistakes. We zoom into a scene where you are getting some advanced training, one-on-one, with Howden. And you are present with weapon, sword, and shield. You can see that it's an open space area outside, and there are 2 training, like wooden dummies kind of set up within the space that you've been familiar with fighting and training with before. He kind of walks over with his shield, not looking directly at you, but walks by you and says, Rowan, how you feeling? You feeling well rested today?
Not bad. Slept pretty good.
Good. You're gonna need it today.
Don't I always?
Absolutely. Well, remember our training thus far. And he's kind of like walking and talking, but not looking at you. He's like pacing around you as he's doing this, which you're familiar with. He does this all the time. Engaging in one-on-one combat with a sword and shield is much like a dance. A dance in which no one knows who is leading. Your job is to determine when it is your time to lead, and when it's your time to follow. You see, leading allows you to see through your enemy's defenses, and test their ability to respond to your strikes. It also allows you to wear your enemy down, but beware, not to wear yourself down in the process. Balance is key. And he winks at you. Mm-hmm. You've heard this phrase hundreds of times.
That felt familiar. Somehow that felt really familiar.
And then he starts to pace again. Following allows you to test your opponent's mettle and anticipate their maneuvers. It's by following you learn an opponent's tendencies and help to set up your own assault. It also allows your enemy an opportunity to wear themselves down. For if you continue to draw in an unwise opponent, they will eventually get careless and expose themselves to your counterattacks. You remember the quick strike from yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. But today I want to show you something different. A different type of dance. He starts to walk around. He's like, throw your weapon over there. Go ahead, unsheath it. Throw it over there. Stick it in the dirt.
She takes it and does what she's told.
Ah,
She's
very
told
good.
her.
You won't be needing that today.
Mm-hmm. She
See,
thinks
Rowan,
of the dagger
today.
in her shoe.
Very nice. You see, today you and that shield of yours, you become one.
Oh, you son of a... I know what you're doing. Okay.
See those wooden battle dummies there?
Mm-hmm.
To your sides? One to your left, one to your right. See, those aren't wooden battle dummies at all. Those are your brothers and sisters in arms. Those are the innocents. Those are your loved ones. Take a moment, Rowan. Imagine someone's face upon those wooden panels there. Who would Rowan be maybe imagining on those wooden battle dummies at this point in her life?
Probably... She's not worried about Malark. He can protect himself. It might be Owen and Saoirse from the very beginning.
Okay.
even if they didn't stay, that is the first people she ever had to think about in another situation
Okay,
where she had a
perfect.
sword and a shield. So and Saoirse.
Yep. He begins to pace again and says, I, on the other hand, am not one of those people. You see, during this dance, I am your enemy, and I am trying to harm the people you love. I want you to stop me. First, show me your ready stance, and remember, tight grip in the hand, extend your arm, but do not lock the elbow. You only wear your arm down quicker than you need to. Eyes always free and never take them from your opponent. You cannot stop a strike you cannot see. Never hide behind that shield. Cowards hold their shields close to their bodies, directly in front of their chests. They hide and tremble in the shadow of their enemies, waiting to be struck down in disgrace. You, however, are not a coward. Prepare yourself. Ready your shield. I desire nothing but blood. And he starts to take a step back, and he prepares and unsheathes his weapon. Shh.
Rowan's shield is at her side and ready, but she's gripping it tight and she's ready to fling it up.
Okay, perfect. His dark eyes focus intently, and he just makes eye contact with you, and there's just this pause, and you can see, like, his thought process is just milling through his mind as he's heading towards you. And then all of a sudden, quicker than you realize, he just starts to come at you, and he takes a sidestep and he goes towards one of the dummies, and you're able to kind of quickly sidestep over and kind of deflect and push the strike away. But that's when he kind of dips and takes a very quick sidestep to the other side, and you hear, and he looks at you and he's like, into the other dummy, with his blade point into like the neck area of the dummy. Looks at you, he's like, that's a fatal strike.
All right. I see what you're doing here.
And he pulls out the sword and he's like, you see, I am your enemy. I have no desire to fight honorably. I have no desire to show you a warrior's respect. I want easy blood, and I want to break your morale.
Mid-conversation, Rowan bashes him with her shield.
Mid-conversation, you bash him with the shield? Okay. Let's see this. Go ahead and make an attack roll with advantage against him.
It's a 15 on the dice. I don't know what shield bashing is, but
I guess it'd be just like a melee attack roll.
Yeah, so if it's unarmed, it's
15.
19.
He is a 19? Okay. Yeah, you catch him off guard while he's monologuing here, pacing around you, and you crash him into the shield. He stumbles to the back a little bit, grabbing his shoulder, and looks at you and he goes, Yes! Yes! Prepare yourself. Ready stance. And he gets ready again and sees you kind of getting ready. And he starts to come at you again. And this time, from some of your shield training from before, you remember a little technique that he had taught you. He kind of sits back, and then all of a sudden, when he goes to try to make like a low swipe, you take your foot and kind of pin his arm, knock the shield out from like in front of him, and then spin around almost like you're doing an uppercut with the edge of the shield, but you stop like an inch under his chin.
Yeah.
And he smiles again, because he's missing a couple of teeth. You remembered!
Took a minute.
The weakest part under a helmet. Right here. He clasps like a gauntlet on your shoulder, stands up, kind of picks you up from your one knee position.
Again?
Again! He steps back. And that would be where we kind of fade that scene out.
The clash of shield against shield. Scene. Pouting Crossley fades away. 2 left. Who's your
I'm gonna
next?
skip my evil DM, and I'm gonna go to Victoria.
I got high.
Also, I'm giving Matt's voice a minute to rest. He doesn't get to like skip talking this much in a long time, so I'm giving him a
Yeah,
minute.
no, I know. I don't know why I didn't start doing this earlier. I'm just gonna make you guys DM yourselves from now on.
Gonna be a lot of
think we
stupid
all have
voices from me.
experience
A lot of stupid voices.
Don't make me DM anything. It's all gonna end horribly.
Alrighty.
Yeah, if Brittany DMs, who's gonna take the notes?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Russell. I love you. Proving my point.
So I think like yeah, probably at some point, at some point shortly after Rowan had like learned that like she could heal and like was probably like gradually progressing through her training with like well it was like Epiphany Tiffany whatever. Epiphany with Epiphany.
Tiffany definitely needs to be NPC.
Damn it.
Epiphany Tiffany is that girl living under the pirate island. Oops, okay. Coming back. But like when Rowan's still not like doesn't have like a full like all of her abilities like on lock. There's one day where like she and all the other recruits were told that they needed to go like down into town proper and meet up to accept some caravans because there was a large like it was basically like a large caravan of donated goods like swords, shields, various trade goods of things that like they Lyra could produce for itself, but like when they can get like charity certain things it's like easier to get those goods, like they come from trade caravans. So Rowan was told to like go down into town to collect these things, and when she goes into town in like you know if there's like a square or perhaps like a little gate where she enters town after like leaving the fortress like keep thing, she sees like probably a half a dozen caravans that are just like loaded with stuff like basic armor, things that you know like recruits will use when they're training, and just like the regular soldiers who may not necessarily have like been blessed with the light will definitely use, and it's like good quality stuff. There's foodstuffs, there's even like a couple crates of things that are very hard to find here that you don't remember having since before you left home, like oranges. There's even like a little bit of chocolate, like really nice supplies and these very like high quality wagons. And as you're like going through everything, like checking the inventory list that was delivered to you with everything that you see here, and you're all figuring out who's gonna help like get what into the keep, you hear a voice that is kind of familiar to you. Rowan Ambermore, is that you?
I turn very slowly.
And you see a familiar face of a girl, or who's a little bit older than you, so I guess she's like a woman now. Her name is Maisie. At the time that you left, she was she's basically like a girl from like a noble family. Her family's very wealthy, and she was engaged to like the richest of the rich, like basically a trade baron. The family name that she was like marrying into was the Martingales, and she was always like literally like the pinnacle that your mother would tell you, like, why can't you be like her? Like her etiquette immaculate, her looks incredible, like she was the best dancer at all of the balls that you had to go to. She had like a list of suitors that was like a mile long, and she was like super popular and everybody loved her. And she's like there now, and she's in very she's in like traveling clothes, but they're very ornate and like very like flashy and like colorful, and she is like immaculate, and she's just like tall and beautiful, and the years that have gone by since you haven't seen her have only like helped to like make her look like more like mature and just like elegant. and she's like looking down the bridge of her nose at you, and she kind of takes a few steps closer, and says, "Oh my gosh, that is you, Rowan! I had
Maisie.
no idea you were here. It's so good to see you."
It's good to see you too. I see that the Martingales are doing quite well.
Oh, yes, you know, the Martingale Trade Empire is doing better than ever. My husband works so hard, and, well, you know, we hear stories of everything that happens here with the Order of the Radiant Dawn, and, you know, what is the point of having so much success in life if you don't give to those less fortunate? So we're here donating some surplus goods to the Radiant Dawn. Um, what are you doing here?
This is where I've been for years. Where did you think I'd been?
Oh, that's so funny. It's okay, Rowan. Rowan, you can tell me the truth.
Maisie, while you were getting married into the Martingales, and I imagine having a beautiful wedding, and maybe having or planning to have beautiful children as you are wont to do, because look at yourself and look at your husband. I've been here keeping the darkness from spreading down there and killing your entire family.
Oh, Rowan, you know, that is so lovely that you have such noble ideas in your head, but, hmm, I guess it's good news that you didn't run off, with the child of a beggar, as people had said that you did. Your mother was beside herself. She tried to put on a strong face, but I mean, she's so easy to read. It's good to
Well,
know that that isn't what happened here, but the Order of the
well,
Radiant Dawn for a girl like you, all the way out here in this provincial little place. And then, like, a cart goes by and like some mud splashes up and she like sidles over a little bit. Mm.
Rowan just smiles and says, when you get home, instead of talking to my mother about where I've been, go ask my sister Louisa where I've been. I told her goodbye before I left. In fact, I told my whole family. Mother and father gave me a choice. Be married off or leave. And I left. I told them where I intended to go. They must have not believed me. They saw me walk out of the house. I guess they thought I'd come back sooner. But Louisa will tell you the truth. At least she was never a liar.
Last I heard, Louisa hadn't spoken to anyone for quite some time after you left. She was, not doing so well after all of that. Kind of, a little bit of a shock when the family is put into so much disgrace as to when their daughter flees in the night. But you know, Rowan, it's alright. A little shrinking violet like you with middling looks will still be able to find a man of decent standing to marry, so why don't you just come back with me? It'll do you really good. You've had your fun out here, but you should come back to where you belong, with the
I
people
turn and I look
that you belong
back
with.
at the Radiant Dawn.
Everybody is like already in the process of like bringing stuff into like the keep, so it's like there's not that many people around.
And I just smile and I say, I don't need a man. I'll be fine. And I wink and I turn and I walk away.
And she probably is like, as you're walking away behind you, is like, but I'm going to tell your parents about this.
Hair flip. Keeps going.
Yeah, and the donations are like given begrudgingly to the order, but you can tell once everything has been brought in that some of the higher quality things that you saw when you were like looking in those wagons didn't make it in, and you have a feeling, like a distinct feeling, that there was some animosity that Maisie decided to take out on the order because of you.
Rowan,
But she leaves.
Rowan notices that and just laughs, and to Malark she offhandedly mentions, I guess she never liked that I turned down her brother's marriage proposal. Oh well. And she just goes to her rooms.
Okay. Very good. One to go, I suppose. Alrighty, well. Rowan, you and Malark stand before Grand Marshal Andesius. After hearing rumors from the east of trouble along the Honoran border, a band of mercenaries turned bandits are attacking towns and escaping back across the border into the bush. Malark has asked you to come with him to make a request of the Grand Marshal. So you see, Grand Marshal Andesius, says Malark, coming to the conclusion of his pitch, which we join mid-swing. If the Dawn were to dispatch a small group of 10 to 12, with even 1 or 2 paladins among their numbers, these bandits would easily be dealt with, and countless people so near to the border of Honorand, where Mithlinde cannot properly protect them with its own forces, could be helped. He steps back, his pitch finished, and the Grand Marshal looks at Malark for a long moment. He frowns, and he heaves a sigh, and says, Vanguard Ambermore. I presume Vanguard Harr has simply swept you up in his wake, but you are in support of his proposal nonetheless.
I am, sir.
Andesius gently rolls up the map that Malark had placed on his desk and sets it aside, and he says, I relish not the day that all young paladins are confronted with this lesson. To be a paladin of the Dawn means to dedicate oneself to a cause so fully that through the sheer force of our will we are able to tap into a source of magic unlike any other. The training we put you through to help you find your driving will is as relentless as it is painful. It has to be. It tempers you to be harder than the hardest steel, but the cruelest part of the vows we have taken in exchange for the Star of Dawn's gift of power is in its innate irony. The power to do good, to fight evil and protect the innocent. The dream of it is akin to growing wings that can untether you from the ground and allow you to soar to any height. And yet the truth of that power is that it does not free you. It binds you. The power we wield allows us to do more than any mere mortal man or woman, but at the cost of binding us to our responsibilities. The Dawn has but one mission, and the power we have been given is expressly in pursuit of that goal. The line must hold. We are apart from the kingdoms of Orahul. The law and the lawbreakers of the rest of the world are not our place to intervene. Our calling is higher, and the bounds of our duty are absolute. The Dawn's place is here. The Grand Marshal looks truly saddened as he looks at Malark, who stares back at him blankly. I am sorry, Vanguard Harr, but my word is final on this matter. Please consider what I have said, and reflect upon the oath you have taken. You are both dismissed. The two of you depart the Grand Marshal's office, and you follow Malark as he walks to the gates of Fort Dawn and out into the city. Eventually, he stops at a stone bridge overlooking one of the city's waterways, where you have both come often enough to throw stones and talk about things big and small. He's quiet a while longer before asking, Rowan, why did you want to become a paladin?
I wanted to do some good in the world. I didn't want to just be a housewife.
He nods. And this, defending the valley, it's enough for you?
Valley does need defending. We've been out there. We've seen it.
He heaves a big sigh. He says, I know, but that troll we killed, it wasn't the first one that had troubled Verdenhearth. when I was a lot younger, a group of 4 of them wandered into the area and they attacked the town. The townspeople chased them off, but people died. My father died. And for years I thought about those trolls and how even though we were Mithlindian citizens, the king's soldiers weren't ever there when the village really needed them. And how could they be? We were so far from the big towns and the cities. We're in the middle of the nowhere, and after all, the king's soldiers are just people. Men and women with swords, spears, and bows. No wonder they couldn't protect everyone from monsters and bad things happening, but Paladins of the Radiant Dawn? They weren't just men and women with swords and spears. They were walking legends. And they really did protect everyone from the monsters. I knew, even back then, that I would become a paladin, and I would be so powerful that I would be able to stop every last monster or wrongdoer from killing anyone's father ever again. Silly. A fantasy. From a boy going through grief, I know, but I mean, look, Rowan, look at the 2 of us. The training we've received, the power we wield. The magic of the Star of Dawn makes any one paladin worth 20 regular men. Imagine how much good could be done if the Order would expand their influence. You're right, yes, the line needs defending. It can never falter. Even one of those shades escapes could be the end of everything, but the Order is turning its back, burying its head in the sand when it comes to what else is out there in the world.
Are you asking? Are you asking me to still go with you as your friend?
He shakes his head. He says, "No, I'm not going." The Grand Marshal was clear.
But you still want to see one day.
He kind of nods. He says, there has to be a better answer. I don't know.
Well, I agree that maybe this isn't the mission for it, and it's unfortunate, but I do know one thing. Out of the 2 of us, and how far we've come, and if we live long enough, maybe you'll be Grand Marshal one day. And you can make the decision to spread the influence farther. I'd support it.
He kind of looks at you and he smiles a little bit, but he doesn't really respond. And you and Malark don't really discuss the matter again after that. But he's different after the day that the Grand Marshal gives him that speech. He's more subdued. He spends less of your off-duty time in the company of you and your other companions, and more time off who knows where, doing who knows what on his own. He didn't laugh as readily or carry himself as carefree as he used to after that. Looking back, it's easy to see that that was the day that Malark began his fall. It is 6 months after Malark asked the Grand Marshal to send forces to those border towns. Eventually, the Mithlindian army managed to apprehend the bandits and put an end to their raids, but several other villages were ravaged before they were finally stopped. You are standing now in the Great Hall of Fort Dawn. Grand Marshal Andesius has assembled you, Malark, and four other paladins for an assignment. Good afternoon, paladins. I will waste no time mincing words. I have a mission for you. Several months ago, one of our rangers returned from a scouting foray several days' journey beyond the valley into the Blighted Peninsula. He brought back with him news of a partially preserved Invarian structure amidst the ruins of a larger complex of buildings. Inside, he discovered a section of the structure which seemed to be somehow warded against the shades, and within, he saw a relic of unknown function, though clearly magical in nature, and by all appearances intact by his description. However, he was forced to retreat before he could attempt to retrieve or examine it further. When he delivered his report, I sent word along with his description to the Ordinum Libri, the University of the Arcane in Mithlande, and the Arcane Ministry in Shivas Invaria to seek insight. While none of the three were able to provide us information on the warding, both the Ignians and the bookkeepers agree that the description of this relic fits references to devices used in ancient Invaria to store and recall information. A functioning relic of this nature could contain any matter of information or knowledge. All three organizations are naturally encouraging us to pursue retrieval. Their interests no doubt pertain to the relic and what information might be retrieved from it. However, I consider the relic to be secondary. Wards which have kept blight shades at bay for over 2,000 years are a discovery that cannot be ignored. I am dispatching the 6 of you to investigate. Discover the nature of these wards, and return with what information you can. Retrieve the relic if possible, but the warding magic is your main objective. You leave at dawn. Horses and detailed maps will be awaiting you in the stables. You are to travel with all haste to Outpost Hope, and then proceed on foot into the valley from there. You are dismissed. It is at this point that those characters I had you guys make at the beginning of the session will become relevant.
I will boost Rowan up, yeah.
You should boost Rowan up to 3. I will give the... I will give Christy the choice. As you are the only one with one of those, like a prior person here who is a paladin and thus like eligible for this mission.
Sure.
You can have
Tiffany.
Epiphany Tiffany. You can have Effany come be the paladin on this assignment, or you can be somebody different here.
I'll be Effany.
Okay. The rest of you, I have some paladins here. I have an Adra Fairdew. I have a Neris Sindrid. Those are female names for anybody who wants to be a female paladin. I have a Barkol Burgess and a Runed Steerdick.
Dibs on Barkle Barris or
All right,
whatever.
Russell, you are Barkol Burgess.
I'll be Nearest.
Neris Sindrid.
Can I give Effany the lay on hands thing?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
What was the final name?
Runed Steerdick or
I'll take
Adra
Runed.
Fairdew. Okay, Runed Steerdick. Okay. So the 4 of you guys, as well as Rowan and Malark, 4 vanguards, 4 Dawn Paladins, set out from these stables the following morning. And you ride to Outpost Hope, which is a heavily fortified bunker used as a staging area for operations into the Blighted Peninsula. It is like at the mouth of the valley, across that no man's land. You drop off your horses with the small garrison that is currently manning Fort Hope, or Outpost Hope, and proceed on foot towards the mouth of the valley into the Blighted Peninsula. I'm going to need all of you guys to roll, and I'll do one for Malark, to roll both a group survival check and a group stealth check. 17 on his survival.
Natural 20 on the survival.
Malark's got a 4 on his stealth, which is not ideal.
If we have chainmail armor, isn't that a disadvantage?
What I will say for this, actually, don't worry about, because I don't want to mess with stats. You guys are like specifically outfitted in
Good shit.
armor that has been like padded to keep it quiet. That is definitely something that would be standard procedure for Radiant Dawn's like groups going into the Blighted Peninsula. Stealth is of the utmost importance. So what were the survival checks for everybody? I heard a nat 20.
Natural 20, yeah.
Okay.
17.
Or
12.
4. Okay. 17,
Survival.
12,
Dirty 20.
30, 20. And Malark got a 17 as well. Okay, so that is enough of you guys that you do fairly well. Stealth checks, please, now.
6.
6,
12.
15.
12, 15,
15.
3.
3, and Malark got a 4. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Not as good on the stealth check. So, you enter into the Blighted Peninsula. None of you have... This is not any of your first time making a foray into these lands. You know the procedure. You move quickly, you move quietly, and you do your best not to draw attention to yourself. Shades are devilishly difficult to see. They are pseudo-corporeal, made almost of like slightly denser shadow, in the form roughly of whatever the like creature from whence they spawned was, be it a human, a bear, a whatever. And they kind of just like meander through the lands here. And it's a little video gamey in the sense that like if you don't get too close to them and alert them of your presence, like they just kind of go about their business. But if they sort of like, if something like draws their attention towards you, they begin to come, and as they begin to come and like you then have to fight them, the commotion draws more, and the drawing of more draws more and more and more. So it quickly becomes untenable if you have to engage with these things here and you do not like conduct your business quickly and get away to hide. You can quickly become just overwhelmed and swarmed, and either have to like flee and retreat and hope to get away, or just be overwhelmed. You travel on foot as horses flatly, even the most well-trained of war horses of the Radiant Dawn like will not come into the peninsula. They immediately spook and like buck riders and run. So you travel on foot. You move down a worn path created over long periods of time of excursions of Radiant Dawn traveling this road that at one time was a main thoroughfare into the peninsula when this area was the height of the Invarian Empire's civilization. There are still pieces of intact ancient road here and there, worked stones set into the ground, partially buried by millennia of time and erosion. You pass through the landscape, the blank, black, murky, overcast sky above you, a light rain that has a density that is just a little too oily to be quite right for water, falling constantly on the tops of your cloaks and your shoulders and your packs. You move through the landscape, making your way to the location that has been marked on your map. It will take you 2 days to reach there, so you have to camp one night in the wilderness, and that is where your first stealth check comes in, as you guys find a well-established structure that is used as like a shelter structure and a waypoint for scouts and parties moving through. It is a mostly still standing Invarian building of some sort, the function of which long since lost to time, that is located in a grove of gnarled, blackened, blighted trees which have grown and sprung up around whatever civilization was here before. You make your way into the shelter of this structure, where you can safely light a small campfire to cook your meal and dry your cloaks and your boots and things like that. You set up a standard watch rotation, one of you always staying awake to watch over as the others rest. And it is just before dawn. Malark is on watch, and Rowan, you are awoken as you hear something from outside. You hear Malark seems to be whispering. You think maybe he's trying to, like, wake you guys from outside very quietly, but you can't make out what he's saying. You just hear, like, the muttered tones of his whispering.
I would get up because I'm his second, and so anything he needs, I get up immediately.
Okay. Are you rousing any of the others as you rise?
No, I want to see what he needs first and go very quietly. I'm figuring me moving quietly is easier in case it's a problem with the shades. I'd rather be quiet.
You begin to move towards the entrance, creeping quietly in the darkness. As you move in that direction, you still hear him, like, muttering, but he stops abruptly as you begin moving in his direction. And as you get to, like, a short little antechamber that leads, like, outside, you almost run into each other as he, like, is coming back in and, like, bangs into you. And as he, like, stops, he's like, and he looks a little, like, scattered for a second, and then he goes and makes, like, a series of hand gestures like, trouble, get the others.
I turn and I, one by one, wake them as we've been trained to wake each other quietly, like, and then do, for these missions. And I start with Effie and I go around the group. I get everybody up.
Okay. You guys are aroused by Rowan. Your years of training instantly kicking in as you, like, snap to attention, like, swords are in hand. You are ready to roll within moments of being roused. And as you, like, move towards the entrance, Malark is there, like, crouched down. His sword is already drawn. He turns back towards you, and silently he raises one hand and he goes, gestures. There are 5 of them. They are that way. They are coming towards us. They saw me. And you prepare to fight. I would like everyone to roll initiative.
Love that paladin initiative. That juicy +0.
Hell yeah.
I have a -1.
I got a +1. 14.
18.
18.
Hey.
I have 0, but that's
Same.
Nice.
I rolled a 19 on the dice. 19.
Wow, that's the highest score we've had.
I think that's the first time I've
Game, I
ever
think.
gone first, right?
GG, you did it.
No, Russell will probably have higher initiative than I do.
7.
7?
Oh.
7.
8 -1, baby.
Barkle. You were a 19 there. Runed. And Nearest, what was yours?
Also 18.
18 also, okay. All right. Rowan and Nearest, you are the first to act as you look outside the opening here, and you do indeed see 5 shades drifting towards you, visible like intermittently as they sort of like pass in between the like very narrow little bits of like moon and ring light that are like managing to penetrate the dense cloud cover. They kind of like filter in and out of visibility as they approach towards you. 3 of them look to be humanoid in shape. One of them looks like a quadrupedal, like canine creature of some sort, and one of them looks to be like an elk or a buck or something like that. It is a like deer type thing with horns. They are approaching. They are about 25 feet from you, drifting in your direction. The way to kind of track them is that though like their bodies are almost completely translucent, their eyes are always visible, just 2 like whitish pinpricks in their featureless visages.
Quick question.
Yeah.
For just knowledge. These blight shades and everything that we're dealing with. Are they considered like aberrations or fiends or anything like that? Like,
They are. They're undead.
Undead.
Yes.
Okay. Want me to go?
It's your memory sequence. I feel like it's only right.
In that case, because this is who Rowan is through and through, I'm going to clamp my hand down on Malark and cast Protection from Good and Evil.
Okay.
Concentration up to 10 minutes until the spell ends. One willing creature you touch is protected against certain types of creatures, which includes undead.
Alrighty. They have
So
disadvantage.
they have disadvantage on attacks against him, and he can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them.
Cool. Alrighty. Nearest, what are you doing?
I'm gonna take out my long sword, and I also have a shield, and I am gonna point at the canine looking one and cast Compelled Duel on it.
Interesting. Okay.
So it has to make a wisdom saving throw. And I'll tell you what my DC is in 2 seconds.
It's a 9, I assume it fails.
My spell save DC is 12.
Yeah, it gets a 9, it fails.
So, this creature is drawn to me, compelled by my divine command for the duration, which is a minute of concentration, has disadvantage on attack rolls against anybody other than me, and it has to make a wisdom saving throw each time it attempts to move to a space more than 30 feet away from me.
Okay.
If I attack another creature, or cast spells at another creature, or if someone friendly to me damages it, then it will lose it. So I kind of start pulling away from the group slightly.
Okay.
And, like, am trying to pull this one towards me.
Okay.
And away from everyone else. And I'm just waiting for it to come and... No, I'm gonna go up and hit it! Fuck that! I'm gonna go up and hit it! I have an attack, what am I saying?
Okay.
I hit it!
Alright,
with a sword.
You move up 25 feet, and you can roll to hit.
Sorry, I've never paladined before. That's an 18 plus 5.
That hits.
And then that's a d8 plus, okay, 7 points of slashing damage.
7 points of slashing. Okay.
And I slash at this doggy.
You slice through it. Your blade passes through it, not as if passing through flesh and bone, but not as if passing through mist either. It's like cutting water almost. But you see that the blade stamped with the insignia of the Radiant Dawn like sizzles some of the darkness around it where it cuts through the creature. The creature, in utter and perfect silence, like shifts the vague impression of its head in your direction.
Yeah, and that's my turn.
All right, Runed.
Big and strong lady.
Big and strong lady. Runed, you are up.
I am going to grip a gauntlet around a necklace that I am wearing, and I will ask the light to bestow blessings upon my companions. And I'm
Okay.
casting Bless on Rowan, Malark, and Effany.
Okay.
So they have a D4 to attack rolls and saving throws for up to 1 minute concentration.
Okay. All right. So bless, and bless. Okay. Very good. Anything else?
Just kind of get the Warhammer out with the shield and be ready.
Alrighty. That is going to bring us to the Shades, the Blights. They, in unison, are going to try to attack Nearest as she advanced up to them. The rest of you are behind her still. So, Nearest, you're going to take 5 swipes. Let's see. That's going to be a miss for sure. That's going to be a miss for sure. That one will definitely hit. That's
Yeah,
going to be a miss
no.
for sure. The only one that is borderline is a
My AC is
16.
18.
Okay, so a 16 will miss. So you get hit 1 time of these 5 attacks. The wolf creature that you are attacking lunges forward and like bites at you with semi-translucent mist fangs. You take 9 points of necrotic damage.
Okay, well, I keep my spell up, so that's cool.
Okay. Your arm instantly sags under the weight of your shield, and you feel your strength score reduced by 2
No.
as the primary threatening effect of these creatures takes hold as it saps your life force from you.
I feel like she makes that like a pain like that you hear in like old video games of like, ugh.
Sure.
It really does hurt when they touch you.
Alright, that is all of the Shades' turn. They begin to, like, swarm around Nearest as she, like, separated herself from the pack. And that will bring us to Effany. That is your initiative.
Alright, I'm gonna go up to one of them. Which one hit her?
The wolf one that she has, like, spelled.
Okay, I won't touch that one.
Yeah, don't. You would know that
no,
one
no,
will.
I paid attention. I'm not hitting that one. I'll hit
I
one
paid
of the other
attention in
ones.
Paladin class, I know.
I'm a veteran. I know this shit.
Sure.
I'll go for one of the other ones.
Okay, you have 3 humanoid ones and one that looks like an elk.
I'll go for the humanoid.
Okay.
And I roll a d4. 21 to hit.
21 definitely hits.
Alright, as a bonus action, I'm going to cast Ensnaring Strike.
Okay.
So, I'll do damage in a second, but I need a strength saving throw.
Alrighty. Strength saving throw is a 12.
I think it meets it, beats it.
I believe so. This is Ensnaring Strike inflicts restrained? Grappled?
Yeah, restrained.
Okay. What you will find then, regardless of that spell, is that like as you slash and the like tangling chains of your binding spell are not able to find purchase on this thing's incorporeal form. It is
Gotcha.
immune to that status effect.
Okay. So damage is 7 damage on the first hit.
Okay, that hits.
Same to hit. So
Okay, roll another round of damage.
9 damage.
9. And with that second strike, you slash through this creature a second time, and it explodes and disperses. You have slain one of the shades.
Nice.
Alrighty. Barcole, you're up.
Okay, first things first, I'm gonna bonus action cast Wrathful Smite.
Alright.
My next attack will do some stuff if I hit. I'm just gonna roll to hit whatever the closest one is to me. That's gonna be a 15 to hit.
15 will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay, so that's 8 regular, like, slashing damage, and
Okay.
then they have to make a wisdom save. And if they fail, they're going to take an extra 1d6 psychic damage.
Alrighty.
Oh, no, wait. The attack automatically deals the d6.
Oh yeah, you're using a smite. You just
Yeah.
add that damage because you hit.
And then they have to make a save.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Their save was a 3.
Okay.
So you did 8 slashing damage.
So max damage, so a 6 for
and
psychic
an
damage.
additional 6. Okay.
So it's now frightened. Since it failed.
Okay. You slash into it. The creature sort of like shudders around the blade. You invoke the light to empower your strike with the force of a smite, causing the blade to flash with golden light as you strike into this thing. It shudders by the extra holy damage that you deal psychically. However, 2 things happen. One, the creature is not impressed with being afraid of you, it seems. You get the sense that it is not capable of being feared. The other thing that's happened is that brief flash from the activation of your smite illuminates the area around you, and you hear the telltale whoosh of more being drawn to the area. And you hear from behind you, Malark under his breath goes, "Double fuck." It is Malark's turn.
Curses as well.
It is Malark's turn. He, as a bonus action, he reaches into his pack, and he pulls out what essentially looks like a flare. And he goes, "Let's deal with these ones and get the hell out of here." He is going to turn around, and all pretense of doing this quietly aside, he is going to run up to the one that is an elk. He is going to make an attack. Paladins have multi-attack at 3rd level?
I think that's usually a 5th level thing, right?
Yeah, it's only
I
one.
think so. All right.
I have it because I'm a veteran.
Yeah.
Definite hit for him, and he is going to divine smite
Hell
this
yeah.
creature. So his attack is a one-handing his sword, so a d8. 4 slashing damage. Plus 2d8, plus 3d8 radiant damage because it is an undead. He does just enough. He drives forward and thrusts his longsword into the elk-shaped creature, and it bursts in golden light from within and is dissolved. Second shade falls, disappearing. that is going to bring us to the top of the order. Rowan and Nearest. There are 3 remaining shades, 2 of which have been damaged. And you can, as you look around, you now see what easily countable, shifting through the moonlight, is another 10 of these creatures coming from the trees and the ruins around you.
I mean, I'm just hitting the doge.
All right, roll to hit.
I got one. Oh, I don't know where that went. Ooh, and my strength is lower, so my attack 14 to hit.
14 hits.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna smite. I'm gonna add a smite thing onto that. I don't know.
Okay.
Ooh, how do I smite? Do I just...
You declare smite, you burn a spell slot, and then you roll 3d8 extra damage.
Okay. Because that was only 3. So 9, 17, 18 total.
18 total. You swiftly cut the head off of this wolf shadow creature, and it disperses, bursting in a shower of it's sort of the aftermath of a firework, where the embers sort of burn and fizzle out, pieces of its shadowy form burning away with radiant energy of your strike as that one goes down, leaving 2 shadows directly engaged with the group of you.
So there's an unhurt one and
an unhurt one and a hurt one.
I'll go for the unhurt one.
Alrighty.
18 on the dice, that hits.
18 hits.
What am I doing? I have forgot how to do Rowan because I was level 1 for the first half of this game, and now I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Good. That's max damage. That's 12 damage. And if Malark said we gotta get out of here, Rowan will drop a smite too. She normally doesn't drop them, but she's going to.
This is the damaged one, right?
This is the unhurt one.
The unhurt one. Okay, cool.
Oh my god. I can't do math. Why does this always happen? It's 3d8, right?
3d8.
20.
20 points of total damage.
It was 20 smite damage, and then it was 10 stabby damage.
Maybe for flavor, maybe it's not your sword. Maybe one of these shadow things lunges forward, and you wind up and you shield bash it with the bottom of your shield, and the front of your shield poof, bursts out in radiant light, and the shadow is blown away as it is destroyed. Runed, who
ran away again,
might be AFK.
Oh no, that's me. I'm Runed.
Oh, you're Runed. That's right.
I'm Runed.
Runed, you're up. There's one shadow creature immediately engaged with your companions who have run up to where they started this fight, and
so there's just one left.
Just the one left here, but there are more coming in. And Malark is fiddling with that flare thing that he took out of his pouch.
I probably just run up and try to bash it with my warhammer.
All right, roll the hit.
That's a 19 to hit.
That hits. Roll damage.
Oh, that's nice. I have dueling, so that makes it 13 points of damage.
You rush forward and you drive your hammer straight down, and it tunnels through the whole thing's form and slams into the ground beneath it, and the smoky form of it disperses away, disappearing. You are disengaged from combat immediately, and as the last of these things disappears, some of these creatures begin to move towards you. Malark finally come on, got it. And you see the bright light and smoke and noise of this flare goes off, and he just takes it and hucks it as hard as he can, like overhand. It cartwheels through the air, leaving a like whirling trail of light and smoke leading away from you guys. And he immediately like pulls his hood up and is like, go, 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 go. And begins to
Nearest
lead you.
like instantly, I feel like there's no thought about it, like goes to Rowan to like get support while she's running because she's fucking like her arm is like useless.
Rowan immediately would lay on hands for.
Effie would just look at Rowan like with the.
Yeah. Rowan immediately lay on hands for a couple points to. I can't fix her strength right now. We need more time for that, but I can up her a little bit.
You
Thank you,
flee.
Rowan.
You flee from the shades that had found you, and you run into the sort of the wee hours of the morning. Night and day and things like that are less tangible in the Blighted Peninsula, as it's sort of constantly just a murky gray twilight. But you run from what you know to be early morning, as it was Malark's shift on watch for several hours, making your way deeper into the Blighted Peninsula territory. Sure that you have lost any pursuit and done everything in your power to like keep any sort of snowball effect from occurring, at least in your direct path. You travel the better part of that next day, following the map that you've been given, and eventually you reach what was described to you in that scout's report. It is the ruins of either a complex of buildings or perhaps a small town or something like that, most of which is little more than rubble insinuations of where walls and walkways and things used to stand. But there is one building that still seems to be relatively intact. It is a domed, kind of oblong building. Part of it is collapsed, and there are like trees growing up around and through and inside of it. Heavy like coils of grayish oily moss hangs from the trees, like creating curtains that obscure the interior of this building from your view. But inside that domed portion at the back, you can see through several breaks in the roof. You see a very, very, very faint bluish glow.
Does anybody else see that?
Yeah, I don't like it. Effie, have you ever seen anything like that before?
Has she?
A blue glow?
Yeah, like this.
Not especially.
It's not really magic.
It's pretty non-specific
Yeah.
glow.
I'd have to probably get closer.
You think that's the ward that we were supposed to be dealing with?
I hope so.
The bluish glow was outlined in the briefing of this location.
Better be.
Whatever it is, approach with caution.
The group of you move forward towards the building, silently and carefully. You push your way in, seeing no sign of shades in the vicinity, but you remember that the scout that came here before was not able to stick around here long before some showed up and he had to run. You move into the chamber in the interior of the building that you perceived from the outside as having that domed roof. And standing outside its doorway, you see that it is kind of unassuming in nature. Most of whatever had been in here has long since like crumbled away. But you do see that there is in the center of the room, laying a kind of like akimbo on a piece of like collapsed stone that maybe was like a table or a surface of some sort at one time, is a clearly the relic that was described to you. It is about the like size and dimensions of like a suitcase, like a almost a a handled trunk. It is made out of an odd iridescent metal, and it appears to have like a hinge on it, where the top would open. That is just kind of like laying on the ground in the center of the room. The blue glow you see is coming from runes which are lining the sort of like arches that encircle the room and come up to meet at that domed ceiling. There are these runes lining all of these, and they are glowing faintly with that blue light. You see now, as you see them glowing in there, that the portion of the building that you are standing in, the much more destroyed, collapsed portion, there are these runes on parts of these walls and things as well. However, like where this part of the building is like crumbling and broken away, you think perhaps that like the circuit or the connection or whatever it is, like the flow of this magic is like disconnected from the rest of this building, but is still intact just in that central chamber. From outside, you cannot see a source of the blue glow itself, or its point of origin besides these runes. But as you kind of look at the doorway, it does very much look like a little more solid than it should for just being like a glow. It almost like comes to an abrupt stop at like the doorway to this chamber before you guys.
What happens if we divine sense? Like any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet, or at the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated.
Okay. We're gonna kind of jazz on divine sense here, because I don't like the 5e restrictions of it. You do sense undead. There are shades within 60 feet of your current location, and you kind of like, as you close your eyes and sense, you actually kind of sense like it's like the radar ping, like the little like thing swoops past and like the dot appears, and then it swoops past again, and the dot is like one tick closer. But then, like, the thing swings past again, and the dot is, like, further away again. So you sense, like, there are undead in the vicinity, but they're, like, moving closer, and then, like, and coming closer, and then backing away.
It's like they're being repelled.
Yes. The other sort of portion of your divine sense, you don't sense like consecrated or hallowed or desecrated ground or anything like that, but you definitely sense an aura of magic that you are unfamiliar with, but you can very much tell is like the resonance that is repelling the shades from here.
Whatever magic is coming from this is making it difficult for the shades in this area to come any closer. It's like they're trying to come closer, but they can't.
Rowan's been drawing anything that she can see, any of the runes, anything she can see in her notebook. The second we started to see them, any of the markings that she can see, and she's listening, but she's just trying to take as much notes as she can, because the Grand Marshal said the runes are what's important.
I think I would also be copying runes. Like, okay. You take a section, I take a section.
Yeah.
You guys entering into this chamber? You're still out looking at things.
Is there runes on the outside?
The, like, dim ones, yes. The ones that are illuminated are all inside that chamber.
I say we test it.
Yeah. Rowan does what she did, flash forward with the pirates and puts her shield on the ground and slides it forward first into the blue.
Okay. Nothing happens. Comes to a stop. As it does, it like kind of makes that noise. Malark is like, you guys like, it's very loud in the quiet of this empty chamber.
Better the shield scraping than my screaming. And she picks up the shield and steps through.
You step through.
I step through.
You don't disintegrate. You move in. You pass kind of through that like that blue curtain of light, and nothing happens to you. You're inside the chamber.
Taking notes on the...
Okay, make a perception check, both of you.
That's really good.
Damn, I'm not good.
It's dirty 20.
Okay.
19.
I see. So, Effany, you begin quickly inscribing these runes, getting the like sort of the shape and the layout of them transcribed. Rowan, you look up, and at the like apex of this chamber, the very top of the dome ceiling, you see the source of the light that is being fed into these runes. In the very top of this structure, there is a yay big, like crystalline like tesseract. It's like a cube with this like intricately like whatever. There's a lot of complicated geometrical math going on inside this thing, like in a fixture in the ceiling.
I tap Effany with one hand, and then I tap Malark with the other. I say nothing, I just look up at it.
Malark kind of looks up, and then he looks around the chamber.
I think that's what we really need.
How high up is it?
About 50 feet.
50?
Hmm?
I don't know how we're gonna get it down.
I cast Compelled Duel on it. No, I'm just kidding.
It pulls out a small knife and comes at you.
It pulls out a gun.
Malark like taps you back, and he like points his finger for you to follow, and he like traces a path kind of around the outside of this like crumbling structure, and he like does a like follow the bouncing ball, and as he like points it out, you're kind of able to visualize a like path that could be like climbed and leapt and like shambled up, and he breaks into a grin because the last piece to get up to the roof is like a straight shot of two walls about 4 feet across, leading straight vertical up to where this item is.
Yeah, I'll leave that to the young kids.
I just look at him and I go, and we still technically have an hourglass coming for us in reference to the shades, and I walk over to where he's pointed to start.
He like shakes his head and sets down his sword and shield, and you guys begin to ascend. It takes you about 10 minutes to like clamber up. At one point you kind of like stumble, and he pulls you back up. At one point he stumbles, you pull him back up. Eventually you get to this last shot here, and just like old times, back to back, interlocked arms, the two of you, 1 foot at a time, walk up the wall, and you get to the very top, and he goes, "Push or pull, Rowan."
I always push, you always catch.
He's like, "Okay, don't drop me." And
Don't you drop me.
he reaches out his arm. You push with your legs.
Yep.
And his hand extends up until it grabs around the base of this thing, and he chunk pulls it out with a clunk, and instantly the blue glow in the room shuts off.
I make sure I have a good grip on him before we go sliding
You
down.
guys like slide down. Your descent is much faster than your ascent. If Nearest is like still divine sensing,
Yeah, I was about to say I'm like keeping an eye on the perimeter.
I'm gonna pick up the artifact.
there is still an aura coming from the thing in Malark's hand, but it's like kind of sputtering and inconsistent now, and it is not nearly as wide a net. It is like basically just wide enough that like if you guys stick together, it might like cover all of you, like when it's on, but it's like on and then like sputtering off and then on. And in time, it's like kind of flickering and sputtering in Malark's hand, and he's like, it like dims out, and he like shakes it like a magic 8-ball, and it like it comes back on, and he like looks at you guys like.
Keep shaking it.
Effany, you like grab the suitcase. Malark looks to you, looks at the suitcase in your hand, like nods, looks at you, goes, "Okay, now we run, yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
I
guys,
know.
One-handed.
you guys begin to head quickly but quietly out of the building. You exit and you see there are shades coming in your direction. You move. Malark like puts the thing under his cloak so that it doesn't glow. But you begin to move off. Your journey back is arduous and dangerous. The artifact that Malark has seems to like vacillate between pulsing like creatures to like drive them from you, but like when it fails, it's attracting attention, so like you are then pursued, and you end up having to essentially push yourselves for 2 straight days of travel without rest to reach the valley to escape back to safety. You make it the journey with only like some minor incidents. All of you get hit once or twice by one of these things in your journey, so you all sort of like eventually you escape free from pursuit out of the valley, and you rush to the like welcome site of the heavy bunker that is Outpost Hope, and you descend down to within it. There are 2 paladins currently like on duty here who see you coming and bring you in. You come in with the case under one arm, the glowing cube in Malark's possession, and you head down into like the lower level where the like chamber where you guys can like rest is, having successfully returned from your mission. And you sort of sit down and look at each other and like, you know, look at this thing that Malark has, realizing like this is a big deal.
We had technology like this, it would completely change the tide of everything. Did you see how it kept them away?
I'm just smiling at Malark, thinking back to all of our conversations about protecting it, everything broader, knowing I don't have to say anything to him about it. He and I don't have to say it.
You kind of smile at him, and he looks at you, and he returns a smile, but he's distant, and he looks 100 miles away, and you think perhaps just the ordeal of the last several days and the exhaustion of running has tired him out. And
Not a sprinter.
Eventually, you guys turn in. You set up your watch schedule. The other 2 paladins, join you in this so that they can get some extra rest, and you guys can join them for their watch, for your for watch schedules. Before you turn in for the night, Rowan, at one point you realize like Malark is not among the group of you. You head up topside, and as you go, he's like sitting on a log, a little ways away from the like back of the outpost, facing towards Fort Dawn. And as you walk up, he's like looking into a low branch on one of the trees, like just sort of off to the side. It's like one of the like last trees before like the clear cut part starts. It's like a little tree, and he is he's kind of like staring at this low branch. And as you walk up, you see a flutter of red flits off, and in his hands he's like twisting a single red feather that you realize came from a bird. And you walk up to him, and he turns and he looks at you, and he's startled a moment. He says, "Cardinal."
They're rare now, especially out here.
He says, "This close to the Blighted Peninsula. Must be a sign."
Must be. I just smile at him and just say, "Come on, it's our turn to rest. We have watch at dawn, like always."
You turn in. The group of you get your rest. The other paladins take their watches. The others with you take your watch. Eventually, you guys get up for your final watch, and you head up topside, and you sit and you watch these sort of dawn, such as it is, begin to break. And Malark kind of like gets up and he says, I just want to check on something down below. You mind keeping watch for a sec?
If you have to take a shit, just go take a shit. Jeez.
Gross, Rowan, gross. And
I throw like a piece of bread at him.
He disappears. He disappears below, and for about 10 minutes there is silence. And then from below you hear a sort of like a thunk and a bang and like a startled cry. And
jump up.
You like jump up, and as you jump up, Malark is like running up the steps. His sword is in one hand, like tucked under his elbow is that glowing cube, and in the other is the case. And he like runs into you, and like shoves the glowing cube into your hands. And he goes, he's got like a wild expression on his face, and he says, "There's no time. We have to go right now."
Where are we go? Oh, okay. Where are we going? What's happening?
He runs over. He like takes that case and he like shoves it into the saddlebag of one of the horses, and he says, "I there's no time. I don't have time to explain. Just come on. We have to go."
I grab his arm. Where's Effany?
He opens his mouth to say something, and you hear a noise from behind you. And you turn towards the steps back down into the like whatchamacallit, the bunker, and a figure is ascending, like kind of wobbling. And as you're like looked and you have Malark by the arm, you kind of you feel him tense, and he goes, "Fuck."
I'm kind of almost turned to glance at him, but I'm still looking at the figure, and I let go of his arm. I'm still holding the cube, and I take 2 steps away from him. I back to him, and I just start walking towards the bunker.
The figure that comes up is Ethany. She is grievously wounded. A sword slash across her chest. She like collapses into you as you reach her and like settles to the ground. And she
Immediately trying.
You lay your healing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You lay your hands and you heal. The wound closes, but she is extremely pale from blood loss, and she points past you, and you turn, and she is pointing at Malark, who is standing there, his sword still in his hand at his side, and she says,
Traitor.
and collapses.
Rowan stands covered in Ethany's blood all over her front and on her hands. Leaves the cube on the ground and turns to Malark. What did she just say?
He looks at you and he says, there really is no time. You can still come with me. He holds out his non-sword hand to you. He like looks past you towards like the valley beyond where the Blighted Peninsula is to your back.
Go where? What's happening?
He like looks back and he goes, Rowan, there's really not time.
You owe me an answer.
And he goes, I didn't want it to be this way. And he slashes you with his sword.
Because we were on watch, Rowan has her stuff. Shield bash to the nose.
You stagger backwards. He catches you off guard. You can tell, you feel no pain as he slashes you, which indicates to you that you are probably already in shock, and the wound that you have just been dealt is bad. And in the moment that you hold it together, you lean back and you bash him uppercut with the shield. He's not wearing a helmet, but your mind harkens back to your lesson.
Mm-hmm.
That's the weak spot. You catch him in the face. You hear his nose crunch and break. He staggers back, blood pouring from his nose. You collapse to the ground, unable to stand anymore. And as you begin to fade out of consciousness, he goes, God damn it. And you fade in and out. You feel yourself dragged back towards the bunker. You are sort of like rolled in the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him take one of those flares and throw it at the mouth of the valley before taking that cube, that glowing cube that you had left on the ground. He holds it in his hand and he looks at it for a minute. And he sets it at your feet inside the door. and closes it. And that is the last that you see of Malark for a very long time. When you wake up, you have been recovered by the dawn. A rather sizable group of shades rushed the no man's land, drawn by the flare that Malark threw, causing a distraction, a rather brutal fight, allowing him to escape on horseback with that case to who knows where. Because of your quick intervention, Effany survives. The other paladins were dead in the sublayer of Outpost Hope, killed in their sleep. You're brought back to the Dawn Fort. An inquisition is launched, and the result, of course, is a final conversation, the words of which you carry with you for a long time. The words of the Grand Marshal as he says to you that the betrayal of Vanguard Malark Harr has weakened the Dawn in a way that you cannot possibly understand. And while it may be that you are innocent of his treachery, you have always been known to be his closest confidant. And the risk is simply too great. Another traitor in the ranks of the Dawn could spell the end of everything. You are stripped of your rank. Your oaths are revoked, and you are excommunicated from the Radiant Dawn and sent away from Lyra forever. And as that tale concludes, so too does Rowan's retelling of her experience from before she came to be with all of you on a gently rocking ship somewhere in the South Sea. And so too ends our session for the night.
GG.
The crying face on Michael. Hey, so thank you everybody for joining me for my my Rowan fanfic. Thank you for joining me, guys. As always, always an absolute delight to do D&D with y'all. And of course, those of you watching at home, thank you as always. Remember to check out our YouTube. We are like so close to 1,000 subscribers on
hey,
YouTube.
I gotta tell you before you say that, we hit it last night.
Oh my god! Oh,
we got
shit.
it.
But you should still subscribe anyway.
You should still subscribe anyway. And now we're all
Maintain it.
rich and we can quit our jobs. Not true.
I already did that.
So thank you guys for joining me as always. Thank you at home for watching. Thank you to our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. Make sure to find proficiency bonus on all of the places and subscribe and follow us so that you don't miss any of our content. We will be off next week for the holiday season, but we should be back the week after that, which is the 3rd, I believe. 3rd of January, the new year, last session of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Very good. So
Nice.
I have no more for you. be gone from me. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Love you,
Bye.
bye.